this team has relied on the talent of those young kids playing on their team, San Jose. Some of these players that have been drafted over the past 2 years have just been able to make something out of nothing consistently. And we've seen over the past couple games, it's sort of started to fizzle away. And San Jose's looked pretty good. They've made some plays happen. They've been involved in some higher scoring games. I just think Seattle is that team overall that, when you look at how they're playing, they can just be a little bit boring as well. Like they can trap teams into a kind of a more defensive, low event game. They have a good defenseman, but they do lack offense. When I watched the Habs versus Kraken broadcast last week, they were just going on and on and on about how this team, when they score a couple early goals, they have to win that game because there's not that many goal scorers on the team. So when you get a lead, you have to be able to protect it. And Carm, you always talk about that 3-1, 4-1 lead, what it can do for a total. I feel like that's what could happen here. So I think if you like the over, you're cheering for San Jose to get off to the lead, because I think if Seattle gets up to 2-1, 3-1, they're going to go full on park the bus mode and try and win this game 3-1. So I would say that the dog, and this is kind of a rare occasion here, I think the dog actually correlates with the over and the favorite correlates with the under. And typically we would say it's the other way around, right? But I think the only way San Jose wins this one is if they put up 4 or 5. But I think Seattle's comfortable in a low-scoring game here.
Yeah, again, that 4-1 scoreline, it just so many bad memories of that one. We always talk about, and Prez talked about it as well too, the 4-1 scoreline, especially in the third period, is a very tough one when you have the over, because in all likelihood, teams are not pulling their goalie down 3 unless it's John Cooper, let's say. And it's even worse when you have a play on it and a 5% play. Andrew has learned never to call me when I have a 5% play going. Even my wife doesn't come into the room, because it's not just my money, it's my client's money, and I'm vested in it. I remember once, I think it was last year, it could have been the year before, Buster calls me, and if Buster's watching this, he'll comment in the chat. Buster calls me, he goes, "Hey, I forgot to ask you what your 5% play was." And I go, "Over 5.5 in this game." He goes, "Oh, it's 4-1 at the end of the second period. Congratulations." The game finished 4-1, and I just lost it, man. I just I should just turn my phone off. I now put it on do not disturb, so I get nobody's messages. My wife, she doesn't even come into the same room. It's as far as my bankroll goes, Andrew, because I control my bankroll and I adhere to never putting all your cookies in one basket and going all in. And I hope the clients would do the exact same thing, so you can actually get through those small slumps that will come throughout a full season of NHL hockey or baseball or what have you, or any sport. But I still hate it when other people lose. It's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. That's how I'm conditioned. Is I'm more upset about them losing than I am about me losing, because I know some people don't adhere to bankroll management, and they really should. So
I'll say, Carl, my girlfriend will say that she's cheering for my 5% play, but I don't think she's actually cheering for the play. I think she's cheering for my mood, because she knows I'm going to be in a bad mood if the play loses. So she's like really just excited for the play because she wants me to be in a good mood for the rest of the night. And if she is not watching the game with me and she sees me after the game, she can instantly tell if the play won or lost without even asking me. And it's not a good thing, but she can pretty much tell right away. So that's how it is. We wear a heart on our sleeve, Carm, with those big plays.
And to talk about a couple of games last night real quickly, like I was so not upset. I was so disappointed in the New York Islanders, which was my customer appreciation play, because they completely outplayed the Boston Bruins, but kept making mistakes. One deflected into goal, give up a penalty. They allowed the Bruins to stay in the game, and then the game goes to a shootout, OT, and then a shootout. And nothing good happens when a game goes to OT or a shootout. For the life of me, I cannot win one. The last time I think I won a shootout game, it went to like 17 skaters for the Washington Capitals. if you remember that one. It is just miserable. And then watching the Florida game, or some of the Florida game, I'm going to tell you this. My play on Florida last night as the pod play was predicated on Florida instilling their will on Anaheim, and it was the other way around. Anaheim just skated circles around Florida, up and down the ice. Florida had a power play. They were on them, pressuring them. So much speed on this Anaheim team that they're actually exciting to watch under Joel Quenneville. So I give them kudos. They should be at least at home. They're entertaining their fans and should be, if you can get them at plus money in some spots, maybe a bet on team until things change. But kudos to them, man. They played extremely well. And my pod play on Florida was about as useless as a fork when you're trying to eat soup.
Get this. I had the team total over for Florida, and I wake up to see they just got absolutely destroyed, and I could have just had the full game over. So that was kind of tough. That was tough to look at, thinking, okay, I needed one team to get 4 goals. Meanwhile, the other team puts up a ton of goals and doesn't even matter for me. My one, I got the same game parlay card, and then we'll get out of here. But one thing about this Anaheim team that's causing me trouble is that I feel like we're getting tough prices on them every night, you know, and I feel like that compared to last year and then looking at this year, there's been such a drastic change of how the books feel about them. And I guess they've been made correct, but this is why I have not been on Anaheim enough this year, because I just feel like there's been such an instant correction on how the books feel they are. But I guess they are better. New coach, new players, young players getting better. So this team is getting a lot better, but we'll see. It's all about
natural hat trick for Cutter yesterday.
Gauthier looks great. Gauthier looks great. Yeah. What has he had? 9 goals, 10 goals?
Yeah. The hats, not a lot of hats on the ice, but enough. Maybe the fans in Anaheim haven't fully embraced the team as of yet. Hopefully they do. They got some talent on that team, and they are a fun team to watch. So fire Paul Maurice. Sorry, I had to throw that one in there. But with that said, yes, the 6 and 60 is on a Friday. Tomorrow we got Don Buster and Brian Leonard coming on to break down some shows, some games, because there's a huge card tomorrow as well too in the NHL. For myself, Champions League, 4 plays going this afternoon in Champions League. A couple games in the NHL tonight for me. I don't know what Andrew's laughing at there.
I was like, don't forget about the same game parlay. That's all.
Yeah, no, I'm going to get to that in a second. I figured I'd give you the same game and then have you close it out.
All right.
And stuff. So that's what's up for me today. One day All Access. You can pick them all up.
Welcome in
and
to
then
Kelly
I'm definitely looking forward to the 6 and
60.
I'm hoping
from a
to
football
have
season
some
wedding.
swag so I can start running some contests soon. The embroidered puck time hats. So I'm going to see, they're sending me over a sample, Andrew, and I'll make sure you get one, and then I'll send some to our Detroit office because it'll be easier for them to mail them out to the winners. If they're listening right now, they're probably like, we don't want to do that. You do that. Anyways, well, guys, with that said, I'll send it to Andrew for a same game parlay and to close out the show. And one last word to you guys. We appreciate you guys always tuning in. Hab Relic, Ice X, Titans, all you guys that are always in our chat. We really appreciate you guys. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And then drop a comment in the comment section and let us know who your best bet is tonight. Andrew, same game parlay time.
Guys, again, Carmine's plays at WagerTalk.com, at Carmine Bianco WT on X. Let's get to my same game parlay here. Let's see if I can pull this up, and here we go. All right, guys. This time we've got a handful of plays. Comes out to plus 456. Yesterday, the Minnesota Wild one is the one that hurt us the most because there weren't that many goals in that game. We got a lot of trends, a lot of stats that back up a lot of these plays here. We've got Strome, 2+ shots on goal from the Capitals. Ovechkin, 1+ point. Strome, 1+ point. Matthews to get at least 4 shots on goal. and Logan Cooley from the Utah Mammoth to get at least 2 shots on goal. That's plus 456. So we have 2 plays from the Maple Leafs and Utah Mammoth game, and we have 3 plays from the Capitals game. Strome over 1.5 shots, Ovechkin to record a point, and Strome to record a point. Matthews over on shots, and Cooley over on shots. Make sure you guys shop around, get the best price you possibly can on this same game parlay. And guys, with some of these props, make sure you're finding the alternate numbers, because I'm not always giving out regular. We're getting out the alternate ones. Very similar to the shots on goal for Cooley at over 1.5 minus 205, not the over 2.5 at plus money. Plus 456, guys. Comment below if you're riding with me on this one. So far, we are 1-1 this week on the same game parlays, but we did cash the big 10-1 winner on Monday. Let's make some money, guys. 4% best bet for me in the NHL. We are also rocking with some props today. Let's make it a winning day. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place, right here on Puck Time.
Welcome into Drew's Daily Diamonds for midweek action. We are talking Tuesday and Wednesday night college football here.
I am freshly off a plane from a football season wedding. Don't even get me started, Crack. It is very frustrating to travel on an NFL Sunday back home with crappy Wi-Fi, but you never care. You don't even watch the games.
No, I watch the games. I actually do. When I'm done with my Fox show on Sunday mornings, though, people will be surprised. So I do a Fox show with 10 to 1 p.m. Let's use Eastern time. And 1 o'clock, I go out and I breakfast, put my iPad up, and I'll watch the scores on my screens, on my Odds Logic screen, try to get the live scores there. But however, I do, when I'm done, I come home and I do put on. I don't put on the games per se. I'm a Red Zone guy.
Okay, me too. Red Zone's great.
Red Zone and the iPad next to me, kind of following the scores. And, I'm not betting live, but so I'm not saying that it's not wise to not watch the game. It is. If you're going to watch the games, I don't do live wagerings too often, so I don't really have to be watching every play and everything. And it's fun, though. It's fun to watch it. Look, any given Sunday, anything can and will happen. We've seen that yesterday. There was actually a 14 out here for a second on Green Bay.
Wow.
We have a 14-point favorite going down outright, which that just shows you, like, anything can happen. I remember I was doing a show at South Point. I had to be the old VSiN studio, doing a show about 5-6 years ago. And on a Sunday, we had a 17-point and a 16-point favorite. Both of them lost outright. So anything can happen. That's why these survivor pools are so much fun. By the way, I don't even know this. Kel, are you in any of them? Are you involved in
I have a couple of splash left. The $2.5 million guarantee that we started the season off with. I have one left. I used the Rams yesterday. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because, your other options would have been the Lions, loser, Green Bay, loser, Patriots, I considered, but I like the Falcons plus the points. So I was nice and easy, no sweat survivor pick yesterday.
Do you have Detroit and Green Bay available?
That's a good question. Each one of these was so different, and I was in so many. I think I have Green Bay and Detroit both available as well.
Wow.
Let me kind of look and double check.
How did you avoid Green Bay? That was the best spot for Green Bay. They're not going to be 14-point favorite for a second.
They won't be. So far, this is the big splash, 2.5 million NFL survivor. Started the season, 16,337 people. There are 729 of us left. I lied. I did use Green Bay. I've used the Eagles.
Okay.
The Cardinals, the Bills, the Texans, the Colts, the Packers, the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Rams.
Football's funny, this NFL, though. Look at next week. I seen something. I almost feel like a sucker betting it. I actually seen last night there was a 3 on the Eagles +3. Green Bay giving the Eagles 3 points next week. I mean,
I already put the Eagles in a teaser. I've just been betting a lot of teasers in the NFL. It's been kind of rough sledding.
It looks too easy, and maybe it is, but maybe I'm a sucker. Call me a sucker, but I bet it last night. So
listen, I don't blame you. The last I told you 3 weeks ago, I was sitting there in third place in my NFL contest. Last week was awful. Right now, I am sitting in fourth place after having another good week this week. The Texans cost me 5-0 in the Super Contest, but I am 77-57 on this season, and the leader is 81-53.
Yeah, no, it really, think about these records too. What it takes to win a contest like that.
It takes you have to strike lightning in a bottle for 18 weeks.
You know, I hate to say this, and I'm not saying that one of the shows. Not maybe because it's not really sour grapes. Lifetime, I'm not down $1. I'm actually up money in the contest in my life, especially that I won a big one years ago at the end. But I'm not even counting that. I'm not even counting that first year. Let's talk about since Circa and Westgate Superbook. I'm probably about even, but I'm going to put a lot less money in next year. I'm not. I throw a lot, tens of thousands on these pools a year, and you know, I look at the Westgate. So at the Westgate, the winner a couple of years ago was like 73%.
Yeah.
Like 70%. That's crazy. It takes almost 70. Last year was, I think, 69.5.
I think the record's 76%, those CH Baller guys back in the day.
You're winning over three out of 4 games. You know, in lifetime. It's just impossible. So there's a lot of variance, a lot of luck involved. And listen, I don't care who says what. Even betting the off lines, you know, these contest lines come out on Wednesday, and by the time you can put the picks in 3 days later, some of the lines are off a half a point or a point around the key numbers. That has been a successful strategy, mixing in them with other picks for me, and it just hasn't been the last couple of years. And you know, there's so much luck, even in the Survivor contest. We see the people that are alive. There's a guy I know that has multiple entries, and last week he said he had like 6 entries left, and he wants to sell his pick. They sell their 10% of their entries, and they're asking premiums. And I'm not, even though it's probably worth a little bit of a premium because he has 6 entries and he can play around with them, but there's ways to maybe definitely get there, but not win it, but get further than a lot of people with 6 entries. And I'll just tell you, I'm not paying no premiums on things like, or there's 2,000 people left in the Circle one. At least there was. I don't know what happened this week after the carnage this week.
Oh, there's definitely some carnage. Let's look.
Yeah. But I just don't think I'm going to, when there's still all these entries left, I'm not paying a premium. So in other words, let's say there's 1,000 people left and there's 15 million in the pool, and it's, you know, you have, so literally they'll say, okay, they'll take the 15 million divided by 1,000, it's, you know, $10,000, whatever. And there are 15,000 bucks, and they'll say, hey, I want 18,000. No, there's no premiums.
All right, Crack, let's back it up real quick.
Yeah, whatever.
As of Thursday night, 21 people played the Ravens. They got through. There was 2,057 entries. 264 took the Packers. 15 took the Lions.
15?
Yes. 1 took the Texans. And wow, four people got really lucky with the Jaguars. So yeah. I mean, we got another 279 knocked out.
How many started? What was in the pool?
Oh, I don't remember. A ton.
Well, let's just say
13,000 something, I think.
Yeah. So 1,700. So the entries are probably worth, you know, a little less than 10 grand. And,
well, before Thursday, the implied value entry was 9,100. It says.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. 10 grand. I'm just guessing. Yeah. 10 grand. So they'll ask, hey, if you want 10%, it's 2 grand. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting involved in that. Not at this point. Now later on, when it gets to be a little secret that I've done over the years, later on, when it gets to be 50 entries left, you know, when you're talking about 10%, you know, maybe a lot more money, 50 grand or something. And, you know, you put 50,000 in someone's hand, they're more happy to take 50,000, lock something up and than anything. So that could happen down the road here. We'll see what happens. And again, it's not sour grapes or anything. It's just that there's so much variance and there's so much luck in these contests. I'm happy to even be even lifetime in the Circa Westgate contest.
They're just, listen, these are just fun, right? Like I tell people, like when I owned the proxy service, like I had a guy friend who was married, had 3 kids, had a whoopsie 4th, and his wife was like, "You're done gambling." And I told him, I said, tell her this, you'll not gamble. Like you won't use a local guy. You won't bet at a sports book, but let you have $1,000 to enter a contest with a chance to win $1 million, because $1,000 bankroll, you're never going to build that up to be $1 million in the course of an NFL season. So take your $1,000. You happen to hit, 72%, get 3rd place in the Circa contest. Guess what? Your wife is going to be a very happy woman.
Yeah. When it comes to the wives controlling men in this industry, unless you're a degenerate gambler, I don't get some of these guys. Not that I'm no tough guy. I'm not trying to say that, but I was at a game the other night. Oh, Game 7, World Series, Game 7, only Game 7, with about 6 people. And throughout the game, we kept on losing guys. And I asked John Orlando, I said, John, what? Yeah, he promised his girlfriend he'd be home by a certain time. The other guy said, yeah, no, he was going to take his girl to dinner, and he told her, he'll be out. It's the effing World Series, Game 7. Are you kidding me?
Listen, I'm sure that my significant other at times wishes that I wasn't a sports girl. Like I get that there's like 2 sides of the coin, but at some points in time, I'm sure you'd just like to spend a nice Tuesday night at dinner and not have somebody be on their phone score watching.
Okay, but agree to go to a different night to dinner. It's the World Series. I mean, you have to set that precedent early. You can't.
Yeah, but men don't plan well. You guys should look at calendars better, figure it out. Go on, go to lunch on a Wednesday. Take her to lunch on a Wednesday. Don't set yourself up for failure when you know the World Series Game 7 is coming up.
Yeah, no, and to be real blunt, my wife said, "Let's go. I want to go see The Lion King. It's coming to town at the Smith Center."
You went and saw The Lion King?
No, not yet. It's next. It's in a couple of weeks. So now I have to figure out which days to go, because I was like, listen, it's college.
But you're gonna go.
College basketball season. I actually like The Lion King. I'm a big kid.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked you're actually gonna go to the theater. I wouldn't want to go.
No, by the way, I love the Smith Center.
Okay.
I mean, someone left $300 million to build that. That wasn't enough. They spent like $500 million. It's all gold, marble, beautiful. I've seen some great shows over there. You'd be, if you'd ask what Bill Krackomberger, the biggest surprises in life that people don't know about me, I love musicals. I actually like.
What?
Yeah, I like musicals. I
would have never guessed that.
Yeah, I do. I like La La Land, the movie La La Land, Chicago. I can go on and on. The Greatest Showman. I thought it was. I love.
I've seen none of those. Just for the record.
No, I can't. I don't have time for it. There's a great Billy Joel documentary on HBO right now, 2 parts. I watched part of the first, and I thought it was unbelievable. I just can't get back to it. It's unbelievable, though. I watched an hour of the first episode, but I just it's hard this time of the year. You want to plan stuff. I've never been on.
Well, we have too many sports going on, right? Like the second baseball ends, college basketball begins. Yeah. It's like there was no downtime in between. The NBA's already been underway. NHL's already underway. We've got college football and NFL. I mean, this is the time of year where it's very busy. Plus, we've got all these holidays that you're expected to do things around.
Yeah. No, that's why I said, see me after March Madness and schedule something or another. NBA playoff time is a good time when it's slow, but. It's really tough. It really is. But it's a great time of the year to bet, though. Listen to that. I mean, college basketball started today. Just to give some tips out to people, because I won't do it too much throughout the year, because I'm told that guys like me, when I say something, people don't talk about this, what I'm going to talk about. The bookmakers hear it. and they maybe change some of the juice. They have Westgate and Circa. I can't buy onto 2 or 3 no more for 10 cents. So I hope I didn't ruin it, but I still have some spots you can do it. So in college basketball, I was taught this by the sharpest people in the world. The guys that own Pinnacle in Curacao in the 90s, when I was there, late 90s, early 2000s, they taught me that, you buy onto the 2 or 3. Now, what that means is if you're betting the favorite of a basketball game and you're laying 2.5, no, buy at the 2, -2, -20.
So don't use. I've always been taught if it's under 3, you bet the money line. If it's 2.5 or less, you just bet the money line, depending on the
money line too.
price.
I believe it or not, I'd rather lay -2, -20 than $1.45 or something. I'd rather lay the games rarely land on 1 in college basketball. 2 and 3s are the numbers they land. And when it's line 2 or 3, you want to make sure, even on the dog, if you're betting a dog plus 2.5, you want to buy it to +3, +3 -20. Again, you only want to play with the books and buy them when it's minus $1.10 extra. So you want to pay $1.20 on the 2 or the 3. You could even do it on the 5. Also, real sharp sports bettor, Alan Boston, who has worked for Billy Walters, and I can go on and on the sharp syndicates he's worked for, and he's a genius in college basketball. He also taught me to buy on the 2, 3, 5, and so now I have the guys that own Pinnacles, Stanley Thompson, who passed Henry, whose real name is Jimmy Everett. We all know that now because he's in the Gambling Hall of Fame, so you could talk about these things. These guys were the genius minds behind Pinnacle, not your typical bookmakers. Jewish, Harvard grad. Like these aren't genius guys that are like Ace Rothstein. They didn't treat it like it was fun. It was a business. So I know if they taught me that, and I'm still doing that, I'm still buying onto the 2 or the 3. I think it's a good thing for people to know out there. So throughout the year, especially the lower the total, the stronger that buy is. So if the total's 163, you buy on the 2, for the extra 10 cents, it's good. But if it totals 123 and you're buying at the 2, it's extra good because there's going to be less points scored, more likelihood of a game landing on that 2 or 3.
All right, little fun information there from Crack for college basketball starting today. We've got a couple of questions we're going to answer, and then I'm going to roll some of them over to next week because we kind of got down a rabbit hole that I thought was really fun. Crack, Monday Night Football is tonight. I asked you before we started the show, you said you've got nothing up at WagerTalk for Monday Night Football, but you do have a play or 2 up in the NBA.
Yeah, up on WagerTalk, though, I'm going to have tons of college basketball. I think I put 1 or 2 games up there now. There'll be a couple more here shortly. And throughout the season, that's going to be fun. This is a soft time of the year for college basketball. These first
Wait, I want to back that up. So I had a buddy text me this morning, Cal, what do you like in college basketball? And I said, right now, I just went 4-1 in the NFL. I had another nice 2-1 week in college football. It's been doing well. And I'm thinking about adding that other sport, especially college basketball, to my plate. And I'm like, call me when college bowl season starts. Do you think that's a mistake? Should I be trying to take advantage early?
Listen, as long as you have good information, that's the key. You're still laying 11-10. Bob Martin, Hall of Fame bookmaker, one of the biggest bookmakers this town ever seen. He had a sign above his office. It said 11-10 built this. Big sign. So it's hard to outrun the juice unless you're getting the best of the line or great information. So if you have good information, even though it's college, it's just like a pro game, you definitely want to be able to have closing line value or have just good information and maybe even bet undercover. So, going back to the NFL props, we're going to talk about a player prop. Oh, I put one up on NBA tonight. Okay, let's go. If this, hopefully this comes out in time. James Harden, and I just checked BetMGM over 8.5 -120 on his assist. Harden's up against the Heat tonight and guarded by Mitchell, who's really good, he's one of the best defenders in the game, point guard defenders. So what that'll force Harden to pass a ton tonight, given I think a ton of assists. So last season Harden was really good at assists, going over 29 of 39 games. So I like that. I like that game, that over tonight, over 8.5 -20. I'm only looking at BetMGM here in front of me. You guys, you could search around there for his assist though. There's a free play tonight. Yeah, we're gonna have NBA props. We're doing good in NBA props. We're gonna win. We're gonna win betting proposition bets. It's a matter of if they allow me to bet. I'm allowed to bet only a couple places here in town on props. They don't like winners, sports books. So, and a small market where only one or two people are betting proposition bets on that particular player. It's the likelihood of them getting opposite action is very low. So they probably don't like when I bet props, I'm sure.
It's going to happen. They probably don't like when I bet college football underdog money lines either. Shout out SMU. Nebraska, not so much after last weekend. All right, we're going to take a couple of these questions really quick. This one I thought was really interesting from Sam Clay. He said, listener from the UK, what comparisons can you make to sports betting in the United States to the UK? It feels like America is very much in its infancy. Is there anything you'd like to see in the US that already exists here in England? Love the show.
No, thank you for your compliment and thank you for your comment here and question. I've never been to the UK. They have what's called betting parlors. They're almost like we have here.
They're great. You just walk in off the street, Crack.
7-Elevens. Yeah.
Literally. It's like a gas station. There's a couple people that hang out. You can get a drink. You can bring your own lunch. It's definitely okay. Remember when William Hill came to Vegas?
Yeah.
And we're like, what is this? This isn't a sports book. That's what it's because they're a European country. They just brought it over here and said, we don't need chairs. You don't need to hang around. You need to walk in here, place your bet, and get the hell out of here.
It was great while it lasted, and then Joe Asher threw anyone else with a pulse. You had to go in and give an eye scan, a finger scan. Yep, you got a pulse cam.
I mean, in fairness, I had a really nice run during March Madness one year, and they gave me the boot. So I'm sure that anybody with a pulse definitely got the boot.
Yeah, but to answer his question, I've never been over there, so I don't know how. I'm told, though, that the UK, and maybe this person can answer in the comments or anyone from the UK, I'm told they're quicker to boot people than here or reduce people on bets. I'm told it was a disaster over there if you're a winner. So it could be bad information. I don't know. Like I said, I've never been over there across the pond. And I'd like to go. There's lots of things. Like there was football games.
I'll answer. How about this, Crack? I'll answer because we've talked about it on the show before. The UK allows political bets. I want to be able to bet political markets here in the United States at legal books. I bet a New Jersey governor 5-1 back in February for it to be Jack. And listen, I had to ship over Bitcoin, and no disrespect to Bet Online. I love those guys, Dave Mason, but like sending out, I got to scan to send over Bitcoin, and then I got to be able to bet it. It's like, okay, you can bet a nickel. And I'm like, I want to bet more than a nickel. I like this bet a lot. If we had it legal here in the US, like they do in the UK, I mean, I know people that were flying over in 2016 to get down millions of dollars on the presidential election. Wouldn't we like to keep those dollars here at home?
Yeah, I'm friends with a big lawyer, and he actually flies over there every election to go bet. So I know that. But now Kalshi's legal in the United States. The Las Vegas Strip had more billboards and neon signs about the election with the odds. Kamala, Trump, they had the back and forth showing the numbers. You have to buy contracts, which, let's be blunt, it's still sports betting. It's still gambling. So Kalshi legal in the United States.
It's just a loop. It's a loophole, right?
It is. Yeah. It's definitely, and now Polymarket's coming. These are, I don't want to call them sports books because that's not what they want to be known as. But
but the reality is it is a market. You are putting money into in hopes that you are correct.
Yes, for sure. Like I said, they took out millions of dollars in billboards and ads all over the Strip. People were confused by it. They didn't understand. They seen, there's a beautiful billboard on the corner of Harmon and the Strip, a curved billboard, just really, really cool, right above like Twin Peaks in there and stuff. And they
you see them in Times Square. You see them all over the place. I'm sure they have them in LA as well. I find it really interesting, Crack, because those are the types of markets that you even said on a show previously to me, like, Cal, you should probably be getting involved here. Like you're leaving money on the table by not.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing that's happening. And they're taking over. So
taking over. You think they're taking over?
The other sports books are so scared they're getting in the marketplace. DraftKings just bought a site. They're getting in the same contract market thing. Yes, they're absolutely taking. Sports books are going to be left in the dust if they don't do something to adjust. Because the Kalshi, you could just see when they had a recent Monday Night Football, they were announcing the volume they had on their game both ways. It was unbelievable. So much so that Wall Street reacted. The next day, you had double-digit losses in the stock market for DraftKings and Flutter, who is the FanDuel.
We talk the talk and walk the walk. It's Wednesday. We're going to hit all the major sports here. Ralph Michaels is going to join us for college basketball. We're going to talk South Dakota and Creighton, and also a surprise impromptu college basketball game where he's going to break down that we just discovered right before we went live here. We're going to talk Ohio State, Purdue, college football. That game's actually 10 minutes away from where I live. I may go watch that one. NFL Week 10 trends and angles. Ross is going to break down Spurs and Lakers, Syracuse and Miami, Florida, and another segment of This Line Makes No Sense. Midweek means momentum. That's what we're building today. Let's go with someone asked if we could do a little Steam report. So yeah, absolutely. We can do a little mini Steam report. We can show you where the money's coming in. We'll start in the NBA. We have a little bit of money coming in on Cleveland. That started at 9.5. That's up to 10. There's 10.5s out there as well. Cleveland at home against Philadelphia. A little bit of money's coming on Detroit. That's up to 9.5. There's a 10 that's popping up at Pinnacle. Money is coming in on Boston -11, fading the Wizards. Makes sense. New York, I'm going to break down this Timberwolves and Knicks game. This line is moving based on news coming out about Anthony Edwards. He's been upgraded to questionable, and he was in practice yesterday. So Knicks opened -5, -3s are popping up. That tells us that Anthony Edwards is probably playing today. And we got money coming in on Denver. -8 was the opening line. That is up to -9.5. And then when we go to college basketball, I was joking that a lot of money has come in on Georgia. They opened to -29.5. That is now up to -34 against Maryland East Shore. And Ralph says, oh, that's like one of my free plays. And then he proceeds to tell me some tidbits about Maryland East Shore. So I don't see any real steam coming in on the football games tonight. I don't really see anything on the Thursday night game. So let's just bring in Ralph. All right, Ralph. I said Georgia and Maryland East Shore, and you said, oh, yeah, I got information on that one. All right, give it to us. You clearly moved the line. This is a 5-point line move. We got Georgia. We got Maryland East Shore. What do you know about this game?
Well, you look at that game, and, I laid it. I released it as a free play today, Andy, at 29.5. And you said that is up to what now? 34.5?
34.5 popping up.
So at that, I'm going to put a note in my free play. I would not play it with a 5-point line move. But again, I don't know the line's moving when I post that play in the morning. But you look at Georgia, they're off a win against Bellarmine where they won 104-59. But I was actually impressed with Maryland Eastern Shore, at least when you looked at the score. They were a 28.5 or 29-point favorite at Georgia Tech. They led that game with 5 minutes to go, and they lost by 4 in overtime. But it was a situation where Georgia Tech played poorly, and the Hawks did not play well. Georgia Tech, 9 of 18 from free throws. They were 5 of 26 from three-pointers. So Maryland Eastern Shore, yes, they covered by 24.5 points, and yes, they're staying in the state of Georgia and just have to play a couple miles down the road. But I look at this Georgia team, and they are a team that's very fast tempo. Last year, they were quick tempo with Mike White. This season, they're number 2 as far as possessions. Again, we only played one game, so I understand it's early. But game number 2 teams, college basketball teams in game number 2, off a home win by 21 points, are 61% against the spread since 2000 and 63% as a double-digit favorite. Georgia played 13 players yesterday ago, and no one played more than 24 minutes. Now they face a team that played an overtime game. Georgia last year, 13-6 against the spread at home, and 9-2 as a home favorite of -4 or more. Only 7 teams have been a double-digit favorite in game 1 and went into overtime. Those teams are 1-6 against the spread and 0-3 failing to cover as a dog of 5 or more. I thought some people might bet Maryland Eastern Shore early. Not the case. I think the line move is completely right. Georgia blows them out. Again, 10 players are going to play. We're going to have 6 or 7 players in double digits for Georgia. They pull away and win that game late.
I love it. I love it. I was not prepared for a Maryland East Shore breakdown, but that is why Ralph is the absolute best. SF Niner wants to know where the pen is. Ralph, where's the pen? You showed it earlier. Let's see it. There it is. When the pen is out, it's time to make some money. All right, let's break down another game. Let's talk South Dakota and Creighton college basketball. Here we go. Another big favorite. Creighton minus 29.5. Over under 168.5. How do you break this game down?
Well, we have a unique dynamic, Andy. We have a South Dakota team that's already played a game against a Creighton team that's playing their first game of the season. And when a team like South Dakota has a game under their belt and now they're a dog of 6 or more, they've gone 39-22, 64%. Not a huge sample size, but if they're off a loss, like the Coyotes are, those teams have gone 25-7, 78% against the spread since 2018, and only 4 have lost at home. They've gone 4-0 against the spread. Those numbers also apply to Target tonight against LSU. South Dakota under Eric Peterson in his 4th season. They sped up tempo year 2. Last year in year 3, South Dakota was number 2 in tempo in the country. They're not for one game this year. I look at South Dakota. They went 19-14. They had a winning record in the Summit Conference. They returned 6 of 13 players. That doesn't sound like much, but in a mid-major like them that had a winning record, that is actually a very positive spot. You look at Creighton. Losing players is one thing. Losing a Big East Defensive Player of the Year in Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's also playing now for the Hornets in the NBA, is a bigger loss. They also lost Ashworth and Neal. They have a lot to recover from. Creighton last year started 0-3 against the spread, and they were only 2-7 against the spread their first 9 games. Creighton last year, 0-3 against the spread as a favorite of 21 or more. And let's remember, this is only their first game. This game does not do anything for them. Yes, they're going to win the game, but will they really look to cover when their next game is playing Gonzaga on the road? I don't think so. I think they bring in some more depth. They empty their bench again. South Dakota keeps firing up threes, keeps the game within the number. I like South Dakota. This was actually on my list to be a client release today in college basketball. I am conservative to start the year. I did only load 4% in college hoops. It is my first 4% best bet winner, and college hoops 2-0 the first 2 nights in basketball.
Nice start to the season, Ralph. And yeah, those big numbers early, man, that's tough for a team to cover that huge number when you're first getting started off in the season. So we're going to move to college football. This Ohio State Purdue game that's right up the road from where I live. I've got a strong opinion on this game. I'm interested what your take is. We got minus 29. Why we keep giving you the minus 29s and the minus 29.5 today? That's 3 of them we've talked about across 2 sports. You got an over under of 48. Obviously, this Ohio State team is way better than Purdue, but can they cover this? How do you break this game down?
Yeah, they're going to cover this. There's no way in hell I'm betting against Ohio State. And I don't think I've ever said that for a college football team early in November. You want to talk about an awesome defense. Yes, they gave up 14 points to Penn State in the first half, but one was a fluke and one was a big play, and then they got situated. What happened? They shut them out the rest of the game. They are number 1 in college football in defense, holding opponents to 162 yards per game under their average. They have held 6 opponents to a season low. Well, let's see. Purdue's season low, 276 yards. They're going to hold them under that. The offense has had a season best 5 out of 6 times. We know Julian Sayin has been remarkable, a 23-3 ratio, looking to become the first ever starter quarterback that qualifies with over 80% completions. The rush attack got underway against Penn State, over 5.0 yards per carry. The defense, 6, 4, 4, 3, and 4 sacks the last couple weeks. That's without blitzing. Purdue tried to run the ball the last few weeks. They had about 400 yards rushing and about 5.0 yards per carry. But this Buckeyes rush defense, allowing 82 yards per carry and 2.6 points. Couple TNA stats. Purdue is off their 7th loss. If you watch my TNA Bet on It videos, you know that teams are deflated after losing a 7th game because they're no longer bowl eligible. So when a team is a home dog of 8 or more, off a loss, which was their 7th loss of the season, they've only gone 36 and 53, 40%. Laying 28.5 or more is a big deal, but AP top 4 teams from game 7 on are 58% against the spread, and conference away favorites of 21 or more with a total under 49 have gone 59% against the spread and 67% from game number 7 on. One more thing I want to remind people. I actually prefer laying big point spreads on the road versus at home. The Buckeyes dress about 120 players. And when you're in a blowout, you are playing not only your 2nd string, your 3rd string, your 4th string. When you go on the road in a conference game, you are limited to 72 or 75 players. So that is basically your first 2 strings, some of your 3rd string, and your special teams players. So even if you're blowing on an opponent in the second half like Ohio State will, your 3rd string is playing against their 2nd string, a big edge for a team like Ohio State. I'm going to call this game 42-3. Buckeyes win and cover again. Only failed to cover 1 game on the year. They cover another one Saturday.
I agree 100%. I don't see how Purdue even. I don't see how Purdue scores. Their team total 7.5. I'm not taking the over on that Purdue team. I would be.
Yeah, I even saw a 9.5 at DraftKings. I thought about betting it, and I was pissed last week because on the blitz with Brian and Ross, I said, I like Ohio State, Penn State team total under in the first half. So Penn State scores the first time down. I said, that was a quick bet. And then what do? They're pissed off and they shut them off the rest of the game. So it is what it is, but don't let one bad performance change you, because it truly wasn't a bad performance for Ohio State. It was just one guy broke a big play and then they had a short field and the other. That is not a defense that's getting walked over.
Yeah, if you guys are on DraftKings, we've been using the alt team total under for Ohio State opponents as a really good parlay piece. You can get Purdue at 11.5 at like minus 300 and throw it in a par. I use it as a parlay piece or something. But yeah, making money again, fading the Ohio State opponents is definitely a really, really good way to add some profits to the bankroll. All right, Ralph, before we let you go, let's go over some quick week 10 trends and angles. We're looking at bad teams as a favorite of 3 or more and good teams as a dog of 3 or more. Pretty good stats here to back up some of these trends, and we got a couple teams that this does actually affect this week. Walk us through this.
One thing I want to qualify, Andy, is this is from game 9 on. So if a team is 2-1 after 2 games, that doesn't mean they're a good team. But when you're 60% or better from game number 9 and later, or you're 40% or less from game number 9 or under, it's fair to say you're a poor performing team or you're a good team. So on the left-hand side of the chart, you see in the gray, these are teams that have a win percentage of 40% or less and are a favorite of 3 or more this week. Take a look at those home numbers, Andy. When you're at home and you're a favorite and you're a bad team, a lot of red, and since 2015, those teams are only 45%. But look at teams that are away favorites. Those teams have gone 69%. And if you take out game 9 later, remember this from week 11 on, take a look at all those positive records. That number will be about 75% if we look at teams from game number 11 and on. And that to me makes sense, because if you're a home favorite of 3, you are pick 'em against this opponent. If you are an away favorite of 3, you add in the home edge, and this team is actually 5 or 6 points better than the situation. So the home road dichotomy in that makes complete sense. To the right-hand chart, let's look at good teams, those with a win percentage of 60% or higher from game number 9 and later. Well, look at the home teams again, Andy. Only 45% against the spread since 2015. And those away teams, not quite as good. But if you're an away dog of 3 or more and you've won 60% of your games, you've gone 61-47, 57% against the spread. There is one team that applies to the dog roll. That's the 49ers. There is one team that applies to the away favorites role, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. And 2 teams are close. The Texans and the Browns currently aren't at that -3 level, but again, they could get there by Sunday. So this chart applies to San Fran and Baltimore and may apply to Houston and Cleveland. But it's so nice when you do a chart like this and it makes sense, and you have these home road dichotomies that can really show you a profit the last quarter of the NFL season.
Yeah, it's really good stuff, and it does make sense. The math kind of, like you said, when you're getting those 3 points from being home, it absolutely 100% makes sense. So, Ralph, you've gotten off to a good start in college basketball. Tell everyone what you have up on this Wednesday.
2-0 start college hoops. I have 1 college basketball 4%, my first of the season, loaded tonight. And college football just continues to shine. I cashed a 5% on Saturday. My college football 5%, now 11-2, 85%. I will have another one this week. And last year, I trailed only one person. It's the guy who follows me on the show, Ross the Boss in college football. But currently, the last 30 days, I'm on a 14-6 run and #1 at WagerTalk in college football. Weekend Warrior, the absolute way to go, $49. My 5% college football play will be $35 by itself. Why not get the rest of my Saturday college football, all of my Sunday NFL, and a Monday night NFL play if I have it? Weekend Warrior for me, you, Ross, or anyone at WagerTalk.
Ralph Michaels, great stuff. Great segment today, Ralph. The Pen, the Maryland East Shore, everything. Great job, Ralph Michaels, everyone. Really, really cooking in college football. And yes, that Weekend Warrior, probably the best way to go. $49. Get Saturday, get Sunday, gets Monday. And Ralph just told you it's going to have that 5% play that is up. I keep telling everyone, this was like we were going to run this 1 week. And then it's been like one of the most popular specials that we have. So let's just keep running.
There's times we have to listen, Andy, that the overwhelming response after week 1, the bigger response in week 2, it's growing every year. I don't think we could take it away the rest of the year. We may have a boycott on our hands.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ralph. Weekend Warrior for $49. Thank you very much to Ralph. All right, Chris, let's talk the NFL trades. Let's talk some NFL trades here. We had a slew of them yesterday. So let's go through and let me know in the chat what you guys liked. Was there a trade you guys didn't like? Was there a trade you did like? The biggest splash was obviously the Colts get Sauce Gardner. The Jets get 2 first-round picks and Mitchell. I'm not sure why Mitchell was in there. Probably something to do with the salary. But I know he was in the doghouse here in Indianapolis when he dropped the ball going into the end zone. Pretty expensive, but as a Colts fan, I don't know how I feel about it. That's really expensive, but they obviously really, really like this team, and I think they got a real chance in the AFC. I wouldn't call the Bills or Chiefs very dominant this year. So, listen, this is a Colts team that took a player out of New York, and he is flourishing. That's Daniel Jones. So I guess they're saying, let's try and do it again. Cowboys get Quinnen Williams. Jets get 2026 second, 2027 first round picks. Jaguars went out and got Jacoby Myers. We've got Travis Hunter on IR. I'm not sure how bad that injury is, but the Jags obviously think they can do some damage going and trading for a wide receiver. Eagles going to try and resurrect Jair Alexander, who's been dealing with a lot of injuries recently. So Ravens gave up on Jair, and the Eagles go get him. Eagles also go get Jalen Phillips. Dolphins get a 3rd round pick. And the Seahawks go and get Rashid Shaheed. So all these guys all these teams are saying, hey, we think we can make some noise in the playoffs. So I would have to say, I love that Rashid Shaheed. trade for Seattle. Add another wide receiver alongside JSN, and that offense is now really, really dynamic. So Peasy doesn't like the sauce. All bark, no bite. Let's see. Oh, Andrew, the Colts are last year's Vikings, nothing more. Wow. Shots fired at the Indianapolis Colts. Man, I don't know. It didn't affect anything in the markets, by the way. Went and looked at the futures. Didn't affect anything. Nothing. Colts still 10-1 to win the Super Bowl. What are the Jags? You got to scroll down to Jags 70-1 to win the Super Bowl. Seahawks 12-1 to win the Super Bowl. So after all that, it really didn't affect anything in the markets. So we'll see how these trades work out. So Fortune says John Lynch and the Niners standing pat. They're not reaching and sacrificing the future. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. This Colts trade, that is a lot to give up. And you got to figure these picks are probably going to be in the 20s if the Colts, continue their success. So they're not like amazing first round picks, but could be an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, secondary, someone, a receiver, someone that comes in and delivers. Of course, you got to nail those picks. And let's be honest, the Jets haven't exactly been nailing these draft picks. So, all right, let's bring in Ross, the boss, and we got to talk some NBA. We got to talk some college football, and then we got to do this line. It makes no sense. Ross, happy Wednesday. How are you?
Good. How are you? And I agree with you. I think the best trade that was made was by Seattle, bringing in another quality wide receiver. The Jets trade, I think they gave up too much to get Sauce Gardner. And in terms of Indianapolis, buyer beware, because Daniel Jones is coming off. You said he's resurrected in Indy, and you would be correct if you look at his overall numbers. But last week, he reverted back to old form, 2 lost fumbles and 2 interceptions in their loss. So
we'll see. As a Colts fan, I'm nervous. That terrified me.
No, I mean, look, I'm a Bills fan, and they didn't do anything at the trade deadline, and that's shocking to me, so.
Especially seeing that Shaheed was available for just a couple of late round picks. You would think Buffalo would have tried to bolster that wide receiving core. I mean, that
you would
like
think so. And he was, between him and Chris Olave, those were the rumors going around locally here that that's who they were after. But, can't question Brandon Beane. He's done a hell of a job as a general manager, and he must have had his reasons. Maybe the asking price was too high, and they don't have a lot of salary cap room either, Andy.
Interesting. You like I love your team. Your team's getting healthy at the right time. You got faith in them?
Well, I mean, look, healthy at the right time, I'm not so sure. The defensive line is banged up. Michael Hoyt was terrific in 2 games that he played, and he tore his Achilles last week and out for the year. And then Ed Oliver.
I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah,
that sucks.
Ed Oliver, with the torn bicep, he might not be back to the playoffs, if at all. So on the defensive line, they're very inexperienced and very shallow. That concerns me, but they're pretty good at linebacker. Maxwell Harrison, the first round pick out of Kentucky, finally came back off an injury 2 weeks ago, and he's played awfully well in the limited time he's played in the first 2 games.
I see our good friend Rob has jokes. Colts aren't going to the Super Bowl. Indiana Jones will be the Temple of Doom.
I don't love that guy.
Shout out to Rob. All right, let's talk a little NBA here. Let's go to the Spurs and the Lakers. Boy, this Spurs team, man, boy, are they a lot of fun to watch. Wemby is just must-see TV. And then you got the Lakers. Austin Reeves has just turned into, I don't know, he's not a superstar yet, but boy, he keeps playing like this. He's going to be looking real good. I love that LaRavia guy that the Lakers have off the bench. This is going to be a good game. I'm staying up to watch this one. Lakers -2.5, over under at 227.5. Russ, what's your breakdown on this game?
Yeah, I'm finding 228s out there too. So I'm going to look at the total here. Look, San Antonio off to a great start, 5-1, coming off their first loss of the season. Poor defensive effort, which was rare in their first 6 games. In their previous game, Look for them to bounce back on that side of the floor tonight. This is a team that's number 4 in scoring defense in the NBA, giving up just 108 points per game. Number 2 in defensive efficiency. They've allowed 107 points or fewer in 4 of 6 games this year. They're number 26 in three-point attempts, and they only make 10 per game. So this isn't a team that lights it up from beyond the arc. And also 4-1 to the under this year when the total is 232.5 or less, which it is tonight. Offensively, this team doesn't get to the free throw line. Well, they do get to the free throw line a lot, but they're not very good when they get there. They're only 73.8% from the free throw line, which is terrible by NBA standards. And then you look at the pace of both of these teams and how they play. San Antonio, number 26 in pace, and the LA Lakers, number 23. So neither one of these teams likes to get up and down the floor, and they play at a slower tempo by NBA standards, and it shows in their field goal attempts. Now, the Lakers' field goal attempts per game is 82. That's last in the league, but that's a bit deceiving because they're shooting 52% from the floor. However, that's still a low number, and San Antonio is just 85 per game. That's number 27 in the league. And when it comes to free throws allowed, San Antonio is number 6, and the Lakers are number 7 in the least amount of free throws allowed per game this year. I'm going to go San Antonio and the Lakers under 228.
All right. Under 228. I like it. Have you watched much of Wemby? Have you watched
bits and pieces. I really haven't sat down and watched San Antonio for an entire game. But I saw him a lot last year. The kid is terrific, no doubt about it. He's a rare talent with size and everything he could do, athleticism.
That team's really good. I like that Spurs team a lot. They're real dangerous if they mature. So, all right, let's talk a little Syracuse and Miami. We got Miami minus 28.5, over under 45.5. So the books are telling us this is a Syracuse team that probably is not going to score a whole lot. How do you break this one down?
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. And this isn't a game I'm going to use on my premium card, folks. I'll say that right up front. But being close to the Syracuse situation, I'm fully aware of what's going on there. And I think I got a pretty good handle on this game. Look, Syracuse started the year 3-1. In their 4th game, they upset Clemson at Clemson, and Steve Angeli went down in the second half of that game with a season-ending injury. Steve Angeli, by the way, was leading the nation in passing at that time. In comes back up Ricky Collins, a transfer from LSU, and he starts the next 4 games, and he was brutal. Brutal to the point where last week they opted to go with 2 freshman quarterbacks, and they went a combined 6 for 21. 28.6% passing last week. Syracuse, since that Clemson game, has gone 0-5. And during this 5-game losing streak, Andy, goes hand in hand to what you just said at the top here. Syracuse has only averaged 12 points per game, 288.6 yards per contest, and 11 turnovers during this 11 turnovers committed during this 5-game losing streak. And they reached a low point last week in a 27-10 home loss to North Carolina. That's a North Carolina team that had no wins against FBS opponents this year. If I remember right, maybe one in non-conference play. I know they were winless in the ACC, and they showed no signs of life offensively throughout this season. But last Friday, the Tar Heels were able to put up 425 yards against Syracuse and hold the Orange to 147. So they were not only lose that game in a game that was pretty much a pick-em matchup, but they were outgained in that game by over 200 yards and dominated. Miami's going to be in a sour mood, Andy, coming up that 26-20 overtime upset loss at SMU last week. Since 2024, Miami, 3 games when coming off a loss, they've scored 41 points or more in each of those contests. And I think they could approach that number here based on everything I just said. And also, since 2023, the Hurricanes have been a favorite of 23-31. 3 separate times. They went 3-0 straight up in ATS in those games. won by 32.7 points per game, and allowed a combined 28 points. Not good news for Syracuse with their offensive struggle. And lastly, and this is the real kicker here, this is a Miami team that's going to be playing with big-time revenge. And if they could rub it in against Syracuse and blow them out, they're going to take the opportunity to do so. And right now, they're in desperate need of style points. Last year, in the regular season finale at Syracuse, they went up in that game 21-0 in the first half, ended up blowing the game, losing 42-38, and ultimately that loss cost them a spot in the college football playoffs. Give me Miami here, minus 28.5 over Syracuse.
All right, Ross, expecting a blowout in Miami versus Syracuse. Ross, we're going to do this line makes no sense. But first off, tell everyone what you have up at WagerTalk.
Yeah, again, I don't have anything up right now. I will have 3 to 5 plays on Saturday in college football, including the 5% best bet. By the way, I'm 7-2 at 5% best bets in college football this year. 26-14 on the season in college football, 65%. Number one in win percentage, number one in return on investment, and number 2 in units earned. And college football, folks, since September of 2023, up 121 units. In my NBA, which I will have an NBA pick or picks up within the next hour. NBA 6-2 start to the season, Andy, and dating back to last year, 20-7 run in the NBA.
Nice. Well done in NBA college football. That's impressive. Plus 121.7 units since 2023. Excellent job. All right. Let's go over this line makes no sense. You've been lights out with these. One of my favorite segments of the week. Which line makes no sense?
Yeah, I was really hard pressed to come up with something. I'll be honest with you, Andy, but the one that probably sticks out the most, you have number 8 BYU 9-0 at number 9 Texas Tech 8-1. Texas Tech right now is a 10-point favorite. Wow, this jumped right out at me. You got a lower ranked one-loss team in Texas Tech as a double-digit favorite versus an undefeated higher ranked team in BYU. And BYU, by the way, they're coming off a bye week where Texas Tech played last week. So even more puzzling. This Tech would be a 3 to 4 point favorite based on the odds makers' current line at BYU as a lower ranked team, as a one-loss team against an undefeated foe, which probably speaks a lot to strength of schedule to this point. And look, if it looks too good in sports betting, more times than not it is, and this seems to be a textbook example of such, I'm just going to say buyer beware of taking the undefeated double-digit dog in this spot. It looks very inviting and enticing, but look a little deeper into the numbers before you make a play on this game.
All right. Being careful with that BYU Texas Tech. Ross, thank you so much for joining us every week. Ross Benjamin, absolutely crushing it in college football. Congratulations, man. That is a hell of a run you're on. So Ross the Boss Benjamin bringing the heat every single Wednesday. Can't wait to see you next week. Ross, have a great week, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and you as well, Andy.
All right. Ross Benjamin. First off, guys, thank you for getting the $5 NBA play. We hit it yesterday. Wasn't easy. It wasn't dominant, but we get there. We had Jalen Suggs over 5.5 rebounds plus assists. He gets in foul trouble. He gets teed up. All signs are pointing to him not getting there. He gets there late, and that's a 12-3 start to the NBA season. And our special is still up. Guys, I've been telling you for the very beginning of the season, props is how you build a bankroll. We're running that special 7 days of NBA and NHL props for only $69. We've got 3 plays that are up, and we're going to continue crushing, man. These NBA props are absolutely dynamite. We've really hit our stride. So please partner up. We can build your bankroll up with these NBA props. They've been absolutely phenomenal. So let's go over a couple of props with all around the world. And we're going right back to it. Kelly Oubre over 1.5 threes. I'm going to be a little cautious with this one, though. He went over again last night, and he's hit this every single game this season. I'm a little worried. He only had 4 attempts last night, and this streak is now 7 games in a row. all of these streaks come to an end at some point. We've made really good money off of this prop, but only 4 attempts, and he's still shooting over 40%. But if he's only getting 4 or 5 attempts, this is going to regress down a little bit. So we're going to keep playing it until the streak is over, but I'm going to tread a little bit lightly. Brian Leonard has a free play in the Blue Jackets and the Flames. He likes the Blue Jackets here at even money. Flames have dropped 11 of 13 games, outscored by 17 goals on the season. First game back home after a 4-game road trip. This is a typical fade spot. Calgary is currently the betting favorite, and Brian does not buy it. This is the only game the Blue Jackets play in a 5-day span, coming in off of a loss. So Brian Leonard likes the Blue Jackets on the money line. We'll do a quick play here in Thursday Night Football. Bo Nix over 1.5 passing touchdowns. This is a streak that is going on for 3 straight games, and he's gone over in both games against the Raiders. This is a pretty good price. I believe it's only -120, -125. So wanted to get this one out with you guys. So Bo Nix over 1.5 passing touchdowns. We're going to break down Knicks and Timberwolves, guys. Please hit the like button. If you're enjoying the content, hit the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel. My gosh, do we have so many breakdown videos now with college basketball in full swing. We've got NBA breakdown videos. You get notified when all of our videos go live, when all of these breakdown videos get up. So make sure you subscribe. Over 250,000 people have subscribed to the channel. So we must be doing something right. Must be doing something right here. So, all right, thanks very much for watching, guys. We're going to break down the Timberwolves and the Knicks. Knicks are -3.5. Over under sits at 227.5. Big story here is Anthony Edwards. He practiced on Tuesday with the hamstring injury and was upgraded from out to questionable. That's a really good sign. I am going to assume at the time of recording this that he is going to play. The Knicks have won 2 straight games at home to the Bulls and the Wizards. They have 7 straight home games. They do not go on the road till November 19th. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves, kind of the opposite. They've won their last 2 on the road by big margin, but they were playing the Hornets and the Nets. Wolves are 5th in offensive efficiency. Knicks are 13th. Both teams neck and neck with defensive efficiency with 16th and 18th. Interesting stats here. The Timberwolves, 0-4 first half spread on the road this season. Knicks are 3-1 first half spread at home this season. Wolves last game on a mini 3-game road trip. I'm going to take the Knicks -1.5 in the first half to cover at home. This is a trend that I just can't ignore. Wolves have yet to cover a first half spread on the road. And if you're looking at player props, I know Anthony Edwards is back. A prop that we've been hitting is Naz Reid over 1.5 threes. You're probably going to get a good price if Edwards is here, but Naz Reid comes off the bench and is still shooting well below his career average. We expect that to regress up. He's hit this his last couple games. So we're looking at Knicks -1.5 in the first half and Naz Reid to go over 1.5 threes. NBA best bet is up 12-3 to start the season, coming off a 1-0 night on $5 Tuesday. So grab that. I've attached a couple of other best bets to that package tonight as well. You get 3 NBA plays. One of them is a really nice plus money play that I absolutely love. We're going to be playing that for the next week or so. And I also attached an NHL play to that one as well. All right, thanks, guys, for joining us. Great show on Wednesday. We're gearing up for Thursday. And don't forget, football Friday, every Friday. It's probably our best show of the week because we just get you ready for the weekend with all the college football and NFL. But make sure you're here tomorrow, same time, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Appreciate all you guys for watching and hitting that like button. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you like on tonight's card. College basketball, college football, NFL, NBA. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you like. I always love reading those comments. Thanks very much, guys. Good luck on your bets tonight. Take care.
Welcome in to Kelly and Crack. I am freshly off a plane from a football season wedding. Don't even get me started, Crack. It is very
Welcome everybody to the
travel on an
NFL presidential address. This is week 10. We're here to find bets in every single game on the board. If you've never watched this show, no notes. I've done all my research. I've studied everything. I'm going to look you in the eye and I'm going to go through every single game on the board and find you bets in each and every one. And we're going to start right off the bat with the Las Vegas Raiders heading into Denver. The line is -9. The total in this game, 42.5. And right off the bat, I got to look at the under in this football game. Firstly, the Las Vegas Raiders are a horrible football team. And although they were able to make a decent comeback last week, they really struggled to score points for 3 straight quarters, and they're doing this year in and year out. Now they face a Denver defense that is really good. I think they're an elite defense, even without Patrick Surtain. I don't think they're the best defense in the league, but they're a defense that's fully capable of holding the Las Vegas Raiders down to 13 to 16 points. And as far as Denver goes, I think what they're finding in Denver is that Bo Nix is not going to win them a whole lot of games. The great thing is, I don't think he's going to lose them games. And that is why Denver is not putting up a lot of points. This Denver team is playing much more conservative than we saw at the beginning of the season. And I think they're going to do the same against Las Vegas. There's just no reason to run up the score here. This is a division rivalry situation. I know it's -9. If Denver goes out there and gets 24 points, that means that the Las Vegas Raiders are going to need to get to at least 18 for this game to go over 42.5. I don't think that is going to happen. And I don't think Denver gets 24 either. I'm not going to overthink this play. I'm going to play right into what these teams are defining themselves as, and that is low-scoring football teams that are squeaking out W's. I like the under. As far as the side goes, well, if they're squeaking out W's, I like the dog here. I think Las Vegas can keep it close. I would not be surprised if this is a typical Denver 16-13 type of football game. 9 points is too high. We're going to take the dog, and we're going to take the under. Now, before we get to the Sunday matchup, we're going to start with the game in Berlin. I want to ask you guys to just take a second and hit that like button. The way the YouTube algorithm works is simple. The more people hit the like button, the more people comment, and the longer you stay on this video, the higher YouTube is going to rank this video. So if you guys don't mind not stopping this video, like if you're bored right now, if you want to leave right now, just let the video run and go to the washroom. Just let the video run, go watch TV. Really appreciated. Thank you, guys. Let's get into the Sunday games. Atlanta playing Indianapolis, and Indianapolis just picked up Sauce Gardner, which is a huge pickup. He is an exceptional player. Did it move the line? Not really. Actually, the line went from 6. Now there's a 5.5 on tap. And all my contacts are telling me that there is a lot of money coming in on the Atlanta Falcons. I don't quite understand it. This Atlanta Falcons team is not very good. Do they have a good defense? Yes. Is that defense capable of stopping Indianapolis? To a degree, but Indianapolis is still going to get their points, and I don't think Atlanta could keep up. Now, I understand Atlanta put 23 up on New England, really 24 because it was a missed extra point. But 2 of those scores came off of turnovers, one with like an 8-yard short field. And the third touchdown came by a miracle 4th down catch on an overthrow that Drake London pulled in and landed within an inch. So I don't believe in this Atlanta team, and it's reasonable. They put up 10 points the game before and 10 points the game before that. Now they're playing probably the best offense in all of football, coming off of a horrible, embarrassing, humiliating performance, coming off of a game where they turned the ball over 6 times. Indianapolis right now is at a low market spot, given how bad they played against Pittsburgh. And Atlanta is on a higher market value because of how they played against New England. Atlanta is bad. Indianapolis is good. -6 is the number. I think Indianapolis covers this by around 13 points. Take the Colts in this game. Now we look at Cleveland and the New York Jets. And well, after the New York Jets traded both Williams and Sauce Gardner, the line flipped. The New York Jets were -2.5 coming in. They are now +2.5 against Cleveland. The total in this game is 37.5. What are we supposed to do here, guys? Well, originally, I really liked Cleveland. Cleveland at +2.5 against the Jets seemed like a good bet to me. Now at -2.5, not so much. Plus, I don't believe in this Cleveland team. And this Cleveland team, New York traded 2 defenders. Cleveland struggles to score. I don't want to bet this game, full disclosure. I hate this game, but I will look at the under. 38 out there, 13, 16, 17, 14, 21, 13, all of those combinations, 20 to 17, 20 to 60. I mean, all of those combinations come up to an under for me. On top of that, the weather is changing, the wind is coming, and it's getting cold. We're going to take under the total in this game, but we're going to do it carefully. Now we turn our attention to New Orleans playing Carolina, and the New Orleans Saints. They made a big statement on the trading Tuesday, if you will. What did they say? They said, we're not going to win another game this year. They said, we're done. We're calling it a season. We're going for the top draft picks. And they basically came out and told us that. Alvin Kamara came out and said, I want to stay in New Orleans during the rebuild. Everybody knows this team is rebuilding. Why would they go out and win games if they've already announced that they are rebuilding? That first round draft pick is important. The number 1 draft pick versus the number 3 or 4 draft pick is a big bloody deal. I think the New Orleans Saints lose out, and I think Carolina can cover this number. I know, -5.5 or a Panthers team, call me crazy. But look, this Panthers team, since Rico Dowdle has started playing as good as he's playing, I mean, their offense is playing excellent. Their run game is unbelievable. I think they're going to be able to run all over this New Orleans team. And they're playing ball control right now. Their possession time is up substantially. New Orleans, one of the worst in the entire league. I think Carolina is going to control both sides of the line of scrimmage. And I think Carolina is going to win this game going away. I would not be surprised if Carolina wins this game by more than 2 scores. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but take Carolina -5.5 at home against the New Orleans Saints. Guys, I just want to quickly mention before we get into the Buffalo-Miami game, I got a really big bet for you guys all this weekend. It's a 4% NFL moneyline parlay. This is the biggest parlay bet I have ever released in my life. That's how big a bet it is. And I am 8-3 this season, this NFL season, in these moneyline parlay bets. And no, I am not taking, Detroit -8.5 and Buffalo -10 and putting them on a money line parlay that equates to -240. That is not what goes on here. My money line parlays are always around even money. There have been a few plus money, and the worst is around -20, 25 on giving money. I love this play. If you guys do get to watch this video on Tuesday, the play is only $5 until midnight PST Tuesday. Otherwise, it's $25. Please, if you're only going to play one play from me this whole year, that is it. Okay, let me have a sip of water and we'll get into Buffalo and Miami. Now, the Bulls, the Bears. I don't even know what I'm saying. The Bills, -9.5, playing the Dolphins, and the total here is 50. Man, guys, I'm going to pass on this game, and I apologize. I mean, I think Buffalo is going to win this game outright, no problem. But, like, Miami, I mean, their coach is playing for his life. The quarterback is playing for his career. This team is a complete mess. I just don't want to get involved in a game like that. We see this so often. I mean, we saw Miami being a complete mess go to Atlanta 2 weeks ago and beat them outright. So I just think the line is too high for Buffalo here. I do understand that it's likely going to go into a lot of teasers. And if you want to make say a 3-team 10-point teaser, I would probably put Buffalo in that. I would put them in with Denver, and I would put them in with Detroit. I think that's a reasonable 3-team 10-point teaser. I really can't see Denver losing. I can't see Buffalo losing. And Washington is just a shell. So that's how I'm going to attack this Buffalo game. Now we go to Jacksonville playing Houston. And I'm telling you now, I was high on this Jacksonville team. I thought this Jacksonville team was going to maybe make a playoff run. I understand that they got it done last week, but man, I don't think they're a very good team at all. And I think they're walking into a juggernaut of a defense. I don't care. Even if Davis Mills plays this game, I think that the Houston defense by itself will cover this number. Now, obviously, not by themselves, unless they're going to score. But I mean, I'm going to be very surprised if Jacksonville puts up a lot of points here. This Houston defense might be the single best unit in the league. And Jacksonville has struggled against bad units. So we're going to look to take Houston. And guys, we've done a deep dive into this. Right now, any game that is -2 and you can get a money line bet of around -135, the actual money line bet at -135 is much better in the long run. It's around 2% better. And I know you guys will be like, how's 2% better? Much better. Guys, break even is 52.5%. The best gamblers of all time are maybe hitting 57%. That's like 5% difference to breaking even. So when I say it's a 2% difference, that is substantial. If you're going to bet Houston, you bet them on the money line. If it does go to 2.5, you bet them on the spread. But I like Houston all the way up to -3 here. So we're going to take Houston against Jacksonville. Baltimore playing Minnesota. Would I be surprised if Baltimore runs the table, gets into the playoff, wins the division? I would not. Would I take Baltimore at +4 in this spot? Hell no. Minnesota just played their best game of the season. This Minnesota defense is really, 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 really good. Not only that, but McCarthy was able to find Jefferson, Addison. They've got weapons everywhere. Aaron Jones is back from Minnesota. I actually prefer the +4 for the home team than the -4 for Baltimore. I also like the over in this game. Firstly, I'm looking to bet overs in all Baltimore Ravens games. And yeah, they only put up 28 points last game, but now we got Lamar back in his second week. I think they're going to be in much better rhythm. They're also playing indoors. I think they're going to get their points. And we saw that Minnesota can score. They were able to score against Detroit almost at will. And Detroit's defense are not horrible. I would say Detroit's defense is very similar to Baltimore's defense, kind of like a middle of the pack defense, maybe at the bottom of the top grouping, if you will. 48 seems like a very low total to me. I like the home dog at +4, and I like over the total of 48. As far as Tampa Bay and New England go, I'm going to go right back to the over in this game as well. Do I like Tampa Bay a little? I think it's a good spot for Tampa Bay, and I think it's a really bad spot for New England. I just don't think I could get there with Tampa Bay. Mike Evans is out. Godwin is out. Irvin is out. There's just too many injuries on that team. And this New England defense is playing really, really well. And Drake May is playing outstanding. Now, why do I like the over if the New England defense is playing really well? Well, we've seen this story play out time and time again. It doesn't matter who Baker Mayfield's weapons are. He gets the job done. This Tampa Bay Bucks team is not going to be held down. They're going to get into the 20s. They're at home, and New England can keep pace with anybody. I like the over in this game, and I'm passing on the side. Chicago -3.5 against the New York Giants. 47.5 is the total. First off, I'm looking to bet every Chicago game over. Look at what happened in the Cincinnati game. And I see no difference here. The Chicago team is playing a horrible defense in New York, and really before the weather fully changes, they still should be able to get it done. I think the Bears are going to put up 30, 31, 35 points against the Giants, and I think the Giants are going to be able to get us to 20. This game is 48. I think we're going to see like a 31-20 type game. So yes, I like the over, and yes, I like the home favorite. -3.5, a team feeling good about itself, a team in the playoff hunt. I got to look at taking Chicago here. -3.5 seems like a little bit of a short number. Predicted score 31-20. Seattle -6.5 against Arizona. Seattle just picked up a slot receiver from New Orleans, and my God, with Kupp playing short, Shahir, I think his name is, playing in the middle, and hyphenated guy stretching the field. Yeah,
Smith and Jigba.
Smith and Jigba. I call every player hyphenated guy if they have a hyphen in their name, because I hate these hyphens. They bother me. What happens when Smith and Jigma hyphen something marries another hyphen? Are there now 3 hyphens and 4 names? What if the 3-4 name person marries a 3-4 name person? Are there now 6 hyphens or 7 and 8? Does 3 and 3 make 7 because there's 8? I don't know. I am sick of the hyphens. So calm down, Prez. Who cares? I love Seattle here, guys. Arizona is not a good football team, and I don't care who plays quarterback. It just doesn't matter to me. I think this Arizona team, people sit there and say, oh, but Prez, they could be 7-2. Yeah, they could. The Blue Jays could have won the World Series. I could be young. None of those things are true. Yes, they lost close games. Your bank, my bank, your financial advisor, my financial advisor, none of them care. All that is an excuse. There is a reason they lost close games. It's because they're badly coached. Their offense has no balance. Marvin Harrison Jr. had 1 good game. They have no quarterback, and their defense, albeit good, is slightly overrated. This Seattle team is a Super Bowl contending team, flat out. They got 2 incredible running backs. They got 3. They have probably the best wide receiver core in football right now, to be honest with you. Darnold is playing exceptionally well, and they are so well coached. I think Seattle gets it done. They already went into Arizona and won 23-20. I see no reason why they can't win this game 27-17. That's 10 points. And hey, right around the total of 45.5. And I like the under on that game, but I do prefer Seattle. Now we talk about Detroit -8, coming off of maybe their worst game. I don't want to say of the year, but it probably was their worst game of the year, to be honest with you. They just couldn't get out of their own way. They were making mistake after mistake, fumble after fumble. Now they're playing a Washington team that is a shell of the team we saw last season. This Washington team cannot move the ball. Jaden Daniels is struggling, but what they really lack is an offensive line. If you watch that game, Jaden Daniels was like getting killed. And I know Detroit has edge rushers. They have a guy named Hutchinson. I think Detroit is going to be all over this team. I normally do not take -9s on the road. But man, off of a horrible loss against a team like Washington, I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit covers that number. I do lean on the over here, but as you can hear, I'm treading carefully on this game in its entirety. The next game is a sexy one, the Rams versus San Fran. Before I get into that, again, guys, please hit the like button. Please put up comments. I read and respond to almost every single comment put up. And if you don't like what you're hearing, who cares? Just let this video play itself out on your computer. Go to bed. Go to the washroom. Go work out. Send my love to your wife. Do what you need to do, but do not stop this video. LA Rams, San Francisco 49ers. I got to look at the dog here, and I know, wow, Come on, Prez. The Rams are killing it. And yes, they are. Outstanding work by Sean McVay and this team. Matthew Stafford is looking exceptional. Their offense is ticking. Their defense is fast as hell. Why am I interested in San Fran? Well, I got a home division team, a veteran team who keeps winning no matter who is playing quarterback, no matter who's catching the ball, no matter who's running the ball, no matter who's playing inside linebacker, no matter who's playing on the edge. All San Francisco does is win. And now they're playing at home and they're a dog and they've already beaten the Rams. Now, there's just no other way to look. I have to take San Fran at +3.5 in this game. I am not overthinking it. Do I think San Fran can win this game outright? Hell yeah, I do. Take San Fran at +3.5. Pittsburgh playing the Chargers. My initial gut feeling here was the Chargers might be my favorite play, but man, I don't know. Alt's out. We saw what happened when he was out last time. They really, really could not stop the pass rush. And finally, Pittsburgh got a pass rush going against Indianapolis. With that said, what is this Pittsburgh team? Is this the Pittsburgh team that couldn't play defense for like 8 straight games? Or is this the Pittsburgh team that played great defense last year and the year before and great defense against Indianapolis? Is this a Pittsburgh team that's struggling to cause turnovers? Or is this a Pittsburgh team that causes 6 turnovers a game like they did against Indy? I'm starting to feel like it's a wait and see approach on this game. My lean is the LA Chargers, and I will be doing a deeper dive into this game later. But I am concerned playing against Pittsburgh, given that the Ravens are right behind them making a move. Pittsburgh needs to win. They are getting it done. And we saw finally an exceptional output from their defense. So I'm just going to hold the brakes on this game. And Philadelphia, Green Bay, hello, lover. The champs, the best running team in football, playing against a Green Bay Packer team that couldn't stop the run against anybody? I don't understand this line. I understand that Green Bay is so good. I mean, they are so good. I mean, how good could a team be when they lose to Cleveland and then Carolina at home? How good could they be? I mean, really. I understand that they have a good running game. I understand their receivers are good. I understand Jordan Love has his moments. They can't stop the run. How are they going to stop this Philadelphia Eagles team? I get it. Barkley hasn't had the best year. This Philadelphia Eagles team can do the tush push 4 times in a row and get a first down every single time. Every time. From start to finish. This Philadelphia team is also coming off of a bye. This Philadelphia team is the Super Bowl champs. This Philadelphia team realizes it needs to beat teams like Green Bay, and it needs to do it on the road. Can Green Bay win this game? Yeah, sure. Plus 2.5 with the Super Bowl champs. I'm not overthinking this one. We're going to take the Eagles. That's it, guys. That's the NFL presidential address. Please, please, please grab my parlay. It's a 4% parlay. It's the strongest parlay I've ever released in my life, literally in my life. I'm 8-3 on the year in these parlays. If you're ever going to play one bet from the Prez ever in your life, let it be that one. Other than that, thank you for watching this video. It means the world to me. There's so many options out there, so many choices of content. You guys watch this video. It's been going on for 20 years. So lots of love, and we'll see you all next week on the NFL Presidential Address.
What's up, everybody? It's Hakeem Prophet or Ski Prophet, whichever you prefer to call me. And yes, that is my real name. I am with WagerTalk. I've been betting for almost 10 years now, and I guess we're going to talk about behind the bettor today, so you guys can learn a little bit about myself. I'll go through these cards. I didn't cheat, just so you guys know. I'm seeing everyone for the first time.
That was really interesting.
College football Saturdays or NFL Sundays? Absolutely NFL Sundays. I'm starting to get more into college, but NFL 1000%. What's the best sporting event you've ever attended? That's a really good question right there. Best sporting event I've ever attended. I'll say I really enjoyed a trip with my friends. We went to Florida. I went to Hollandale Beach, Florida. We went to a Marlins game. There was a preseason football game for the Dolphins. And then we also went to Gulfstream Park and bet horses, and we almost won the pick six. So a lot of friends that I started with in the industry were there at that event or events. And it was one of my favorite times.
There's a reason why this guy's turned into.
What's the most memorable sports bet? It's a lot of those, 1,000 of those. Russell Wilson, he threw the end zone pick. So I had Seattle against the Patriots. It was my first time betting $1,000. I thought they were going to win. I thought Marshawn was just going to run it in. And man, that's when you learn you have money and you think you already have it. It's already cashed. Not so fast. So that's one of my most memorable sports bets. What's the best gambling movie ever? I don't know that I've seen too many. I'm not a movie person. I spend most of my time playing sports, watching sports. So gambling movie, I don't even know if I can name one, honestly. I get shamed for my movies or my taste or lack of knowledge in movies. Other than sports betting, what's your favorite way to gamble? Horse racing, 1,000%. If I could do something one day, every single day, that's very high up there on the list. Horse racing is something that I really enjoy doing. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore of people in sports betting? Mount Rushmore? I just have people that I really respect in the industry, a lot of friends I respect. This is a tough question. Questions are getting tougher. Maybe I should have cheated. Mount Rushmore people in sports betting.
Also, take a look at the theme.
If I tried to answer this, all you guys would do is laugh at me.
Out in Philly, all that and more coming up on Giants Postgame Live.
All right, these are my personal Mount Rushmore. So I guess it's just people that played a part in what I'm doing today. Peter Loshak, he showed me a lot about everything in sports betting, bankroll management, especially Gianni The Greek. He gave me my first, between him and Loshak, gave me my first chance to speak on a show talking about sports betting. So absolutely Gianni The Greek, 1,000%. Kelly in Vegas, I was just putting my stuff out for everybody, and she's another person who, has a lot to do with where I am today. So I love Kelly in Vegas. I don't know how many people is even on Mount Rushmore, but we got 3 right there. I feel like that's enough. Actually, no, one more. Natalie Rystrom. She also was a part of me having my first show. So have to thank her 1,000% for giving me that opportunity. Best advice for sports bettors: you won't succeed unless you bankroll manage. You just absolutely won't. So it doesn't matter if you can pick a game correctly. If you can't manage your bankroll, you're going to be a loser. So learn to bankroll manage. What's your all-time favorite sports book in Las Vegas? We'll go with the Westgate. We're here at the Westgate. I spend a lot of time here. People come to town and usually can find me here to watch the games. We'll go with Westgate. If there's a specific NFL season that comes to mind as the best, if so, when was it? Yeah, I'm not the big NFL lover like everybody else. I
think they get this one as well.
I could honestly almost care less. I'll say what comes to mind is the best for me I was a big LT fan, so we had really good seasons between him and Antonio Gates. We also had Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers. I'll say there was a season we made it really far, almost made it, and I think we lost to the Patriots. So LT being my favorite football player, that's one of my favorite seasons. I don't know what year it is. Football nerds, you guys know. Do you remember a day that was most profitable for you in sports betting? If so, what was it? Yeah, there was a day, I don't know if it was last season or the season before, I went 10-0 on the day. Absolutely killed it. So that was a really profitable day. I obviously had bigger scores as far as pick fives and horse racing or things of that nature, but to go 10-0 in one day.
On the corner, call the ball. Texas ticked.
Do you remember your first sports bet? If so, what was it? I'll roll with this because it's the first one I remember. It was a Super Bowl. The ones you remember are either really big wins or really big losses, but this one was a loss. And I was, we won't say how old I was, but Cardinals versus Steelers. I believe I had the Cardinals, and they pretty much had won it. Like I just remember, I can't tell you the exact play, but Larry Fitzgerald has some miraculous play. He's like looking up at the scoreboard, running, he scores, and then somehow they lost. And that was the first time I had to really pay up. What's the biggest mistake you see sports bettors making today? They just don't care or don't take it seriously. It's okay. Some people want to do it, how do you call it, recreationally. Some people want to do it to actually like investing, and so just determine what you're doing. Like I said, bankroll manage, be smart with it. But that's the biggest mistake I see sports bettors making today, is not really caring enough. If you could only bet one sport for the rest of your life, what would it be? You know, I have a challenger right now. Any other time it would be basketball 1000%. But tennis is starting to look kind of nice lately. I love tennis, so tennis is giving me the runner-up. It'll be basketball for now, but tennis close second. I guess that's behind the bettor. Once again, Ski Prophet, Hakeem Prophet. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and yeah, hopefully you got to learn a little bit about myself.
Had it with Phil Cussy.
Welcome into the opening line report. Kelly Stewart here with Teddy Covers on this beautiful Monday morning. I hope you guys enjoyed that extra hour of sleep. I needed it, Teddy, back from a wedding weekend, and I think I should be wearing my glasses to cover up some of these bags underneath my eyes. Yesterday's NFL was good for me. CJ Stroud injury, not so great. Denver Broncos offense was exactly what I said. We're going to get into what did we learn over the weekend. Monday Night Football, you've got a video up right now on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Arizona Cardinals, no Kyler Murray at the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and of course, as we do, I'm trying to do it almost every week now, make sure that there's a Monday night video up for everyone over at YouTube. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel so you get instant alerts every time these videos go live. We have nearly 250,000 of you. I've already done it. We appreciate the likes. We appreciate the follows. But subscribe makes all the difference. Check out that video right now on YouTube. And it'll be on, I'm not even sure if I posted on my homepage yet. It'll be posted on my homepage in the not too distant future if it isn't there already.
Awesome. We've got maybe a couple emergency betting alerts. I've got my odds logic screen open, ready to look at some of these opening numbers, Teddy. But first, before we get into NFL Week 10, what did we learn in NFL Week number 9?
Well, we had more survivor carnage, Kel, with the Packers and the Lions both losing straight up. The two biggest favorites on the board both went bye-bye. So after a long period of time in which we were losing not much of the field every week, we lost most of the survivor field 2 weeks ago. We lost most of them again yesterday. So if you still have a live survivor ticket somewhere, you're live. Weak underdogs, 8-5 ATS, 8-4 against the spread yesterday. We didn't see the dog cover on Thursday Night Football, but yesterday was a good day for the dogs. 7-6 to the over this past week. And the big news for me is that I suck, which is certainly a very frustrating conclusion to come to. But, I mean, I can't sugarcoat it, Kel. I've had bad weeks. I've had bad runs. I've been in Vegas since 1998. I don't remember a run as bad as this one. You know, it's been since the beginning of October that I haven't done anything right in the NFL. And out of 31 WagerTalk cappers, 30 of them are ranked above me in NFL right now over the last 30 days. So that's a little bit disconcerting and a little bit frustrating for this bettor. And by a little bit, I mean a freaking lot.
Well, let's talk about that, Teddy, right? I was not doing so well myself. Then I got a nice 4-1 week. How do you either take that bad week and figure it out, or how do I take this little bit of momentum that I have and carry it forward?
So it's one thing if it's a bad week, and I talk about it all the time. You know, we're going to have bad weeks. We're going to have weeks where things don't go right. And that's inevitable when you do this. When you start talking about a bad month, I mean, this is my job, all right? My job, my number one job is don't bury your clients. And when you're dead last in the NFL over a month, you buried your clients. And that's me not doing what I... So this past week, I did exactly what you're not supposed to do. You know, I went back and forth. I struggled. I got out of my normal routine. I released late and end up everything that I thought about doing, you know, the things that I should have done and the plays that I probably should have had ended up winning. And the stuff that I thought about it too long and went over in my head too long ended up, you know, I mean, I cashed with Atlanta yesterday, so I did get one win out of the day, but it wasn't a winning weekend. It wasn't a winning day. And so, but when you talk about an extended stretch, you know, not a week, not 2 weeks, this has been a month now where I haven't lived up to the expectations that I expect to be at. So what do you do then? You know, I tried shaking things up last week. That made it worse, not better. So what I do? Yeah, last night I was pissed off and was out, you know, kicking holes in walls and that sort of thing. This morning, I decided that the better thing to do, right? And I went through and did my work. That's what I do, you know, go through all the games, update your power ratings. It's what I have to do. And then, and that's one of the things I love about this show is that it forces me, good or bad, come down to earth, get ready for this show. But when you're struggling for a month, you got to look at some macro issues. And I think that's my bigger issue. Is not the minutia, it's the macro issues. This is the type of bet we look for in September. This is the type of bet we look for in October. This is the type of bet we look for in November now. And I just haven't been paying attention to the macro piece of the equation, I think, enough. and it's getting me on some wrong sides.
All right, let's look at this macro as a whole. NFL Week 10, Teddy. We're going to start off Thursday Night Football. We're going to do a couple emergency betting alerts, and we're going to break down this card in an extensive fashion. I've always got my pen and paper ready because I have learned so much from the show. So like the comment section says, Teddy, don't beat yourself up so much. This has been kind of one of those weird years where last couple weeks it was really chalky. So I went basically all dogs and the one against the square dog last week, and it did not work out well for me. The Raiders are now headed to Denver. That was a game I got to watch yesterday at the airport, headed home on. I kind of wanted to cheer for the tie. I really did, just because I think ties are funny. But I knew Pete Carroll, he's the type of coach, he's going to go for two. And it ultimately cost them the game. Not really, it cost them the tie. What do you take from that game versus the Jags, and how does it carry over into this defensive matchup on Thursday night?
Sure. Well, let's talk about it. The Raiders and the Broncos Thursday Night Football. Vegas off a bye and then a loss in overtime, and now traveling on a short week up to the Mile High Air. The look-ahead line here, there was some variance. There were 10s and 9.5s in the look-ahead line last week. 43 was the total. My powering number has Denver minus 11. The markets open 9.5, 42.5 last night, and that's exactly what we're seeing today, 9.5. 42s mostly out there now. There is a couple of stray 42.5s. If you like the under, find one of them now. There's not enough of them for me to emergency betting alert it because I don't think there's that many out there. But if you see a stray 42.5 and you like the under, bet that sooner rather than later. The market's already at 42 and 41.5s popping up. I mean, the Raiders, it was Geno Smith's best game of the year by far. You know, he threw 4 touchdown passes. But we talk about complementary football. Good teams, when they get the best game of the year out of their offense, their defense can get a stop. As for the Raiders, the defense got gashed for 26 first downs and 30 points. And that included a goal, first and goal from the one possession where they got an interception against Trevor Lawrence. So it was the offense stepped up, the defense got gashed, the opposite of complementary football. And of course, the way to lose, the difference in the game, let's not forget the game went to OT because they missed an extra point. And because the Jags kicked a 68-yard field goal, the longest in NFL history. Pete Carroll, quote, "I feel for these guys in the locker room. Man, it pisses me off. The all-time longest field goal in the history of the game, and we missed an extra point." The Raiders put a lot into that game. The wise guys were all over them yesterday, took a lot of money before kickoff, and played as well as they could play, at least on one side of the football. Not going to be easy on the short week going to Denver facing the Broncos defense. But it's not like the Broncos are finding ways to win by margin right now either. Denver had another how the F did they do it type of win yesterday. They got outplayed the whole game. The defense made red zone stops, and Bo Nix did just enough in that fourth quarter. 6-game winning streak for the Broncos right now. 4 of them have come by 4 points or fewer. How about this for in-game betting? Denver. Games where they trailed going into the fourth quarter, 4-0 straight up this season. And you want to talk about a defensive struggle, 4.4 yards per play on offense was good enough. They gave up 3.7 on defense. They were -2 in turnovers. The defense didn't force any. They're on the road, and they still won the game in a game where Bo Nix didn't complete half his passes. Nix's quote, "It proves we can win tough games. It proves that our mentality can adjust to where we're expecting where we expect to find ways to win. It's a really good issue to have when you're finding these ugly wins." Denver's winning ugly. Raiders just losing. That being said, 9.5, I'm not seeing any indication this number is going to go up, certainly not through the roof. It's a Broncos team, again, that's been winning by single. Last year was all blowouts, and they couldn't win the close games, 1-5 in games decided by a TD or less. This year, it's been a little bit of the opposite for Denver, which I think will tap the brakes on some of the enthusiasm for the Broncos at this big minus price.
I would agree. Let's touch on the enthusiasm for the Broncos really quickly, Teddy, because I kind of want to know what your thoughts are. We talked about last year when you were on Bet On It with me. We did a segment called Stock Watch. We're buying on a team. We're, selling on a team. Are the Broncos still a buy team? Should we be looking at this team to go deep into the playoffs, maybe a Super Bowl run?
I don't see the Broncos as a Super Bowl, the legit Super Bowl contender, but I do see Denver as a team that could win a playoff game. You know, they could be in the Final Four. And if you win one, you can win two. They have a championship caliber defense. They have an offense that's doing enough on a week in, week out basis. And they have a quarterback who's been clutch. I mean, you know, Bo Nix has not been great, but he's been clutch, and we'll take that. Certainly Sean Payton will. So Denver has that. I have the Broncos power rated above the Chargers.
Okay. So do you think they have an opportunity to win the AFC West?
Sure. I mean, KC's got 3 losses now. Denver's in first. Aren't they in first place?
Are they in first place this morning? Wow. Okay.
So it's so funny. You and I almost never look at the standings. You know, I try to look every week or two just so I can remember, because all I think about is point spread success and all of that.
Yes.
But
the standings don't matter. We know it's just like the AP top 25 for college football. The standings don't, that number doesn't matter. The power rating number matters. But Teddy, I'm going to keep the show moving along while you're looking at that. I want to go to Berlin. We're back in the international series. The Atlanta Falcons, the game landed 1 yesterday, so I thought that was funny as well. I was on the Falcons with you. We'll take that cover. Speaking of not covering and not winning, the Indianapolis Colts, they were a buy-on team there for a while. They ended up faltering yesterday at the Steelers.
Yeah, let's emergency betting this one. That's emergency betting this one right away. The money come one way, and now we're seeing it come back the other way. So you have an opportunity, I think, right now to take advantage of a number that's not going to be there in an hour or two. Look at line here was Colts -7, total of 48. My powering number, Colts -5. The markets opened 6.5 last night, and it got bet down. There were 5s and 5.5s out there this morning. Now I'm seeing the 6s. The 5s just got taken out. The 5.5s are getting taken out. I'm seeing the 6s popping up right now. So if you like Indy, 5.5 will likely to be the best of the number you're going to see. You can still get that. That's widely available as we speak. So in Berlin, which is a long, I mean, Berlin's a long way from London, man. That's an extra 2 or 3 hours on your flight across the pond. That being said, we're seeing Falcons money. We saw the Falcons money. Now we're seeing Colts money in the bounce back spot. And I mean, Atlanta got the cover for me yesterday. Basically, Drake London got it single-handedly. Drake London was unreal. In the final touch on the Falcons' last touchdown drive, he had 3 or 4 I think 3 catches with one hand, including the touchdown catch, which was as unbelievable as it gets. And he had 3 TD catches on the day. That was essentially all Atlanta did offensively. I can't understand the Falcons' game plan right now offensively. It's incomprehensible to me. When you have Bijan Robinson and you're feeding him 12 times in a game with your young QB coming off injury on the road, 12 for 46 to me is inexplicable for Bijan Robinson. And in theory, and he's a team you're supposed to be able to run against. We'll see if that plays out. And of course, after the game, the coaching staff was talking about how New England cheated. You know, they called out our signal. And of course, in the last drive, with clock mismanagement from Raheem Morris and company, with the decision to punt the ball away at the 2-minute warning, so you get the 2-minute warning to stop the clock. I'm not looking at Atlanta and thinking that's a well-coached team right now. As for Indy, I mean, they turned the ball over yesterday. You know, Quentin Nelson, quote, "Losing makes you better in the long run as long as you effing learn from it." And that's what we're going to do. We come to work for each other and grind for each other. Love the guys in this team. Love our coaches. We'll be back next week. Danny Dimes, turn it over as many times as we did. 6. We're going to have a tough time winning. And of course, you know, the offensive line had the worst game they've had all season. The defensive line didn't play well. DeForest Buckner, we're not all going to have a perfect game. I don't have a perfect game all the time. It's the NFL. This game doesn't define him as a quarterback. Jonathan Taylor, his worst game of the season, 14 carries on 45 yards. Quote, "We got to give Jones time." The offensive line, running backs, we got to be in the right spots as far as routes being on our areas. It's the entire offense, the cumulative thing. We have to be better with the football. And the Colts won the box score, 368 yards to 225. But when you turn the ball over 6 times, it doesn't matter. I think, like I said, we saw the first money come for Atlanta. I think that was a head fake. The real money is coming for Indy now. If you like the Colts, bet them sooner rather than later.
On probably the worst NFL game on the season, but both teams are off a bye, and someone's got to get a win here, Teddy. Cleveland Browns at the New York Jets.
Yeah, look ahead line here. Jets -1.5, -2. We're out there. Total 38.5. My number has the game at Pick'em. I guess I'm giving the Browns defense some respect to have my Cleveland power. I mean, the numbers at the games in New York and my numbers Pick'em. That tells me I got Cleveland as a power is the better of these two teams, which I do. That's all about their defense. Markets opened 237.5 last night. They're still sitting at 237.5 this morning. 37s are out there. 36.5s are out there. If you like the under, find a 37.5, bet it right now. Otherwise, this game's not likely to move other than based on injury statuses throughout the course of the week. The Browns off the loss to the Patriots in the bye. The Jets off the win versus the Bengals and the bye. So both teams resting and ready, but one of the two teams went into the bye satisfied. The underdog in this game went into the bye really pissed off. They did not play well in the second half at New England, a game that they played well enough in the first half to be competitive and then let it all get away from them relatively quickly.
All right, Teddy. Next up on the odds logic screen, we've got New Orleans at Carolina. Carolina off that insane double-digit underdog win at Green Bay. Would you say that was more of a testament to the Panthers having Bryce Young back, or more of Green Bay playing down to their level of competition?
I remember that. So earlier this year, I think they were laying 14 to Tennessee. And I'm like, this is a mismatch. The Packers are going to kill this team. And that mentality wasn't there for Green Bay in that game. And it really wasn't. And they got the win. They found a way to, I think they won the game. But at no point was it pretty. At no point was it easy. And yesterday's game was kind of the same for Green Bay. So I'm going to put it more on the Packers bad than Panthers good. That being said, the Panthers have a winning record right now, in November, which is something we haven't been able to say in a couple of years. Look at line here. Carolina 3.5. Total was in the 40. I can't read my writing. 42. I got a 42/40s. There was a wide variance on the total for the look ahead here for New Orleans and Carolina. Powering number for me had the Panthers 5.5. Last night, the markets, there were 4.5. There were 5s. There were 5.5s out there and 40.5s out there. And there are still a couple of 4.5s and 5s out there. Enough 4.5s and 5s to say emergency betting alert time. If you like the Panthers, I would do it sooner rather than later. There's not going to be market support right now for the New Orleans Saints. And Carolina is above 500, a playoff contender in November. They're healthy at the QB position. And I expect this line, again, at 5. The 4.5s and 5s aren't going to be there. It'll be 5.5 or higher, at least in this bettor's opinion. And we talk about incomprehensible game plans. The Saints have a rookie quarterback in Tyler Shuck making his first career road start. And what do? 13 rushes to the running backs. That's it. 13 handoffs. It doesn't make sense. They got out first down 30-10. They had almost only 16 and change in time of possession. Second 4-game losing streak of the season for the Saints. This team's as bad as any in the NFL. Kellen Moore, embattled first-year head coach. Quote, "We didn't give ourselves a chance in this one. They really controlled the game in so many ways. We didn't get enough shots at it." So here they have a bounce-back opportunity against a division foe who may be a little fat and happy after beating Green Bay. But, Bryce Young being back, Bryce Young, had 11 completions for 102 yards. It wasn't like the passing game worked. It was all Rico, They got outgained by a full yards per play, and a lot of it had red zone. The red zone defense was good, and the Packers made mistakes in the red zone. Green Bay only had 1 touchdown in 5 red zone tries. Confidence inspiring for the Panthers. Now, twice this season, they have a rookie kicker, Ryan Fitzgerald, has nailed the game winner like he did yesterday from distance. So we'll give Carolina credit, but that had a lot to do with Green Bay stinking. And again, the Panthers, when we look at what they've actually done in their statistical profile and their record, there's something about a dichotomy there. The markets are not going to give Carolina, of all teams with a winning record, Carolina's power rated lowest in my numbers by a fairly wide margin. So even though they're decent, no one's saying Carolina's good yet. And they weren't good yesterday. Green Bay was just worse.
All right, are they good enough to win the game, Teddy? You know where I'm going here. I'm looking at Carolina in Survivor. Am I getting a little too high on the Panthers, especially in a divisional matchup?
I think they're a reasonable choice.
Okay.
New Orleans right now is a team that's worth looking to fade in Survivor.
I did it yesterday with the Rams. I mean, you can just keep betting against some of these bad teams. Eventually, they're going to win. Remember, I had the Bengals in another entry versus the Jets. So that's where you get a little kind of thinking, all right, eventually the Saints are going to win a game. Because again, the organization may be tanking, but the players are not tanking.
No, and when you have a team, let's say that we're going to talk about Washington a little bit later. When you have a team that's built to win now, and they're bringing a bunch of veterans, a bunch of older guys, and then you start the season seeing 3 and 6, sometimes you see some tank in those teams. When you have a team with a younger head coach, you have a team that's still building, you have a team that hasn't been to the playoffs, there's not tanking, The Saints aren't tanking, I mean, there's effort there. There's effort there every week, or most weeks at least, for New Orleans. They're just not very good.
Okay, let's move right along here. Another divisional matchup. We have Buffalo off that nice win over Kansas City, headed to Miami. Teddy, how do you like to look at things situationally when teams are off a win versus, we'll call them their playoff arch nemesis?
Yeah, the Bills played pretty well yesterday. They played as well as they could play. Look at line, Buffalo 9-50. My powering number, Buffalo 10. The market's open 9.5 and 49.5, and that's pretty much what we're seeing right now. There are some 50s out there. There's even a 50.5 for this total, but the prevailing number 9.5, 49.5. Looking at my odds logic live odds screen, and of course there are two teams coming off very disparate performances. The Bills. I mean, Josh Allen threw only 3 incompletes yesterday. 0 turnovers, 3 touchdowns, and 3 red zone tries, 4 penalties. Josh Allen throws 3 completes. James Cook throws runs for 114. You're going to win the games like that, and of course the key goal line stand before halftime. Josh Allen after the game, they're the pinnacle of what you want your franchise to be. They've been that for the last 8 years. Anytime you get a chance to play the best, you can come away with a victory, you're going to be feeling pretty good. Let's not forget the Bills' previous 5 wins came against teams with a combined record of 11-30. Sean McDermott, we're not where we need to be, but I saw the team come together. When it got tough, they stood tall. Worth noting, defensive injuries, a bunch of them. Daquan Jones, Ed Oliver, Teron Johnson, all out. Somebody else got hurt yesterday, and I can't find where his number is. But anyhow, what his name is, I should say. There were about 3 other defensive starters. Nonetheless, check the defensive injuries for Buffalo. That is definitely a concern here. The letdown effect could very well be a concern here as well. For Miami, they had the awful showing on Thursday night. They fired the GM, but they said, McDonald, you got to stay here. We're going to sentence you to stay here for the rest of the year until we fire you. That's your penalty. And again, the difference in the game between Miami and Baltimore. Miami -3 in turnovers. Red zone, Miami 0-3 in the red zone. Baltimore went 3-3. That's 28-6. There's 3 turnovers, 3 bad red zones for Miami, 3 good red zones for Baltimore. McDaniel, quote, you want to dictate the terms, you want to fix stuff. That sucks. All of that does. There's a pretty consistent formula of fans enjoy winning. Our expectation that we have to do that work and do the right things for the fans to enjoy the experience. Unfortunately, we didn't do that tonight. So we got to give them something to cheer about. The Dolphins won the first half by more than 100 yards, and they trailed 14-6. They made a bunch of mistakes. Key injuries in the ball game. They lose Ollie Gordon, Chop Robinson, Rasul Douglas got hurt. It's a 2-7 team right now for Miami, which means the games we expect this losing team to step up for are going to be the divisional games. This is not a bet on spot for Buffalo. Can you hold your nose and take the Dolphins?
Oof. I don't know if I can, Teddy. I don't know if I can. I am really good at doing the hold your nose thing. I don't know if I trust this team whatsoever, but I can rest assure you I will not be laying it here with the Bills. CJ Stroud, Teddy, I was looking around. He's in concussion protocol, obviously, after yesterday, and the market's on the move. Too early to know whether he will play on Sunday or not versus Jacksonville.
Yeah, look at line here. Houston 3, 41.5. My Davis Mills powering number has the Texans -1.5. The markets have the Texans -1. Total 39.5. Again, look at it was 41.5. Currently, we're looking at 39.5 last night. and now we're looking at 38s with even 37.5s popping up. So we've seen a lot of under money already. We've seen the market adjust with the expectation, I think, that Mills is going to play in this ball game for Houston. When we talk about Davis Mills on the backup quarterback pantheon, he's top quartile. He's maybe even higher than that. That being said, he wasn't good yesterday. 17 of 30 for 137 yards, but just 7 of 16 for 53 yards after halftime. D'Amico Ryans, it's easy to stand up here and make excuses. Injuries happen across the league all the time. You don't make excuses about who's in the game or who's not. We had the opportunity to close out the game and win it. Again, fourth quarter, game on the line, tie game. 4 drives for the Texans. They totaled 33 yards and punted 4 times. 3.7 yards per play, full game. More Ryans. Every offense is going to miss their starting quarterback. We want our starting quarterback in the game at any given time. That's why he's a starting quarterback, but it's no excuses. A lot of teams have won game with backup QBs before. We had our opportunity. We had our chance. It just wasn't good enough. So, that's a bad loss for Houston, a big loss. Instead of getting back to 500, now they're sitting at 3-5, playing with a backup QB. In terms of a mentality changer for a team that's won the division each of the last 2 years. Now, I worry about Houston this week. I really do. That being said, I don't know who the Jags are going to have healthy in order to catch the football. Brian Thomas had an ankle injury. Travis Hunter's now on IR. They lost Trayvon Walker, got ejected in the game for throwing a punch. I don't know if he's going to face a suspension. They won because Cam Little hit the longest field goal in NFL history, and the Raiders missed an extra point. That being said, Trevor Lawrence was announced on the injury report on Sunday as suffering from an undisclosed illness, and he played like it. Liam Cohen. He was pale as a ghost throughout the whole game. If you watch Lawrence in the first quarter, he threw one of the worst picks you'll ever see in a 1st and goal from the 1 situation for the Jaguars. They found a way to win it, and Jacksonville's been, feisty. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. I don't know where the money's going to come. The money's going to move based on what we see from Houston's injury report. Stroud, while Mills is a backup quarterback the markets respect, Stroud is the starter for a reason. It'll adjust a point or two if we do see Stroud this week towards Houston.
All right, Teddy, we talked about the NFL season and how it's gone so far to start the show. Let's talk about college basketball real quick because it starts today. NBA's already been underway. How college football as well. Let's kind of see where things are going right in Teddy's world.
So I don't even look at college basketball until after Thanksgiving.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, never. It's been something that I've done for probably 15 years. I find I can the max that I can work is 3 sports at any one time. When I start working a 4th sport, it messes me up. And I just I can't focus. And college basketball is a sport where you need to be paying attention to a lot of little things. So I don't look at it till after Thanksgiving when college football quiets down, and then I can get into college hoops. NBA continues to be good, very good. 9-4 with the last 13 since 2022. I'm up 230 something units of profit in the NBA. It's been bouncing between 56 and 57% long term. And then again, when you talk about hitting 57% in a sport long term, I'm approaching 800 games now in this sample size. I'm proud of that. And I expect to win in the NBA every year. I expect to win in the NBA every freaking day. So for what it's worth, that's going good. And college football has been, I don't know if it's been as bad as the NFL, but it hasn't been good. This past weekend wasn't good. Frustrating for me. It's another sport where I feel like it's half bad. Like I feel like I've left too much on the table that I should have had and bet too much that I shouldn't have had. It's like the decision-making process hasn't been right in college football this year, and it's cost me and my clients a bunch.
Okay, well, we're going to right the ship this week in the NFL, Teddy. And I think this is a really interesting game. Both teams off nice wins. Ravens were on Thursday Night Football. Minnesota just beats divisional rival on the road with J.J. McCarthy. Now, Baltimore is a road favorite here.
Yeah, the Ravens continue to be power rated by the betting markets as, if not the best team in the league, tied. Hasn't changed. Was last week. Here they are again this week. Baltimore -3.5 at Minnesota was a look headline, 46.5 the total. My part number, I have Baltimore. Well, let me just double check this so I can be very specific. I have Baltimore a half point behind Philly, a point behind Kansas City, a half point behind Buffalo and Detroit. So I have them top 5. I don't have them number 1. And my primary number comes Baltimore 2.5 in this game. So that tells you where the markets are. It's not like I have Minnesota off market, but I've been a little bit under on Baltimore. Markets open 3.5, 47 last night. And today we're looking at 3.5s, 48/48.5s even popping up. And I thought about emergency betting alert this total. I think it's already moved. I don't think it's going to get – I'm not seeing – the movement we've seen up to 48 is telling me I'm not seeing any indication it's going higher than that. And it's not like the Vikings are necessarily an over team. J.J. McCarthy yesterday, 14 for 25, 143. Threw a pick. He was sacked 5 times. Those are not the numbers you expect to beat the Lions in Detroit. How'd they win the game? The run defense was amazing. They held the Lions to 20 and 65 on the ground, 20 carries, 65 yards. They gained 142 on the ground. They only gained 4.4 yards per play, allowed 4.9. But, when all was said and done, McCarthy threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for a 3rd, and the coaching staff trusted him enough that when they were trying to run out the clock, he threw a dime on basically the last offensive play of the game on 3rd and 5 from their own 28. Kevin O'Connell, JJ made one of the best throws of the day. We absolutely needed it. TJ Hockenson, he controls the huddle like a vet. He makes plays when he needs to. It's fun to play with number 9. The quotes were there from Minnesota, from that locker room, certainly positive. And the fact that they were able to get their season back on track with a road win against a divisional foe as more than a TD dog speaks to this coaching staff and the potential that Minnesota has, even though their season so far has not lived up to expectations. As for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson's back and they won the game by 22. Jackson had 5 incomplete passes, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Quote, "It felt great. I didn't have any problems. I was feeling good out there. It's do or die, win or go home. Usually we start off winning games, but right now we're behind. We've all got to step it up." Note, Lamar Jackson back, and all of a sudden Derrick Henry can run the football, 6.3 yards per play. Again, +3 in turnovers. I talked about earlier. Red zone, Baltimore 3 of 3, Miami 0 of 3. Harbaugh, quote, "We had 2 games that we needed to win in 4 games. They were absolute must-wins. For a guy to step up the way they did is commendable. And all that means is that now we're 2 games under 500. That's all it means. We were 4 games under 500. So improvement in that regard. There is still urgency for Baltimore. They will have extra time to prepare against Minnesota. And again, the Vikings win yesterday, punctuated by their run defense and Detroit screwing up a bunch. That being said, Baltimore, there's not, for as poorly as their season started, it's not like the Ravens have been value laden at any point during this stretch. Although, if you've been backing them the last couple of weeks, you've been making some money.
2 teams, if you've been backing, that have been making you some money this season, maybe not last week, but definitely throughout the course of the season, the New England Patriots now on the road at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, look headline here. Tampa -2.5, 47.5. My powering number, Tampa -2. The market's open, 2.5, 48. And we're seeing some 48.5s out there right now. So we're seeing a little bit of movement to the Bucks and a little bit, not much. I'm seeing 2.5s with a little bit of juice and 2.5 and a little bit of movement to the over. Tampa off a win versus the Saints in a bye week. We're going to have to see what their injury report looks like. Their injury report was ugly before the bye. The Patriots, they've been running good and they continue to run good. They won on a missed extra point yesterday. That's when you know you're running good. Drake May, quote, "Doesn't matter if it's 24-23 or 3-2. You can feel in that locker room that guys know we can play better." Mike Vrabel, "We're going to learn from winnings that we don't have to learn from losing." New England's winning streak now, perhaps a little bit longer than it should be. That being said, they're the only team in the league not to allow 50 yards rushing to any running backs through 9 games. And obviously Tampa, a team that wants to run the football, even though Bucky Irving's been hurt all season.
All right, odds logic. Next up, we've got the New York Giants taking on the Chicago Bears. That was a crazy one yesterday, Teddy. If you had the Bears, I had the Bengals in a teaser, and I thought, this is so bad. What was I thinking? It was just kind of one of those crazy back and forth games, and I had crappy Wi-Fi in the mountains, and I could not, for the life of me, get just like enough to care. I was just like, all right, phone away. We're going to see what happens. John Hoagland, our producer, said, how upset he was that they were going to lose this football game. And next thing you know, they figured out a way. Caleb Williams, talk about him and whether you think that he's going to help get this Bears team over 8.5 wins.
Yeah, so the Bears were up 14, and not once, but twice they intercepted Joe Flacco, and both times it was the long return that was called back, and then the other time was a 100-yard return that was called back. And then all of a sudden, the defense fell apart at the end. And note Zach Taylor going for 2 on the first touchdown to make the lead only 6, which gave them the lead when the onside kick, and that was like they recovered the onside kick. That was all Chicago botching the onside kick, all right? When the guy was blocking and the kick hit him in the leg. It hadn't even gone 10 yards yet. All he has to do is get out of the way. The ball goes out of bounds, and the Bears take a knee, and the ball game's over. Instead, you had absolute insanity over the last 2 minutes of that contest. Look ahead line here, Chicago minus 3.5. My powering number, Chicago minus 4.5. The market's open 3.5, 48.5. By the way, look at the total was 47. Market's open 3.5, 48.5. And we're seeing a mix between 48s and 48.5s right now. Weather could very much influence this. While in years past, even last year, maybe even this year, Chicago loses that game. All right. But they actually found a way on the final drive. It helped playing Cincinnati in that contest. But the final drive, Caleb Williams made plays, and obviously the Loveland with the really impressive catch and run to get the touchdown. They only need a field goal, and a field goal would have been just fine. Safety Kevin Byard. Quote, "It's taken years off my life. It's super special. This is the greatest game, greatest sport in the world. Just the emotions up and down for the fans. They definitely got their money's worth." Worth noting, the Bears outrushed Cincinnati 283-46, but the defense allowed 449 passing yards on 9 yards per pass attempt to a 41-year-old quarterback who hadn't even been with the team for a month. Certainly concerns there. They added T.J. Gardner-Johnson to the secondary. Didn't seem to help a whole lot for the Bears. That being said, the Giants have now lost 3 in a row. They've given up at least 33 points in all those ball games. Jackson Dart was the leading rusher yesterday. The defense allowed 9.8 yards per pass attempt from Mac Jones, only forced 5 incompletes all day. Brian Dable, quote, "Look, we're not where we need to be. We've got to continue to improve here. There's some things I think that are improving, but there's some things that are not." We're not going to see a swell of market support for the G-men this week. I'm not anticipating that.
All right, shout out to almost 2,200 of you guys watching live here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel and social media. You guys would take us a second, give us that thumbs up, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode of the Opening Line Report here on Monday mornings with myself and Teddy Covers. Teddy, the Arizona Cardinals play the Dallas Cowboys tonight. Seattle off a nice, almost just easy Sunday night football when the Washington Commanders could not get anything going. Unfortunately, Jaden Daniels out with a pretty serious injury, but Seattle seemed to comfortably control that game. The first half, it was basically all but over.
Yeah, I had a nice free play videos for supporting the Seahawks in that game. For the clients, of course, that was on the lean list. I did not pull the trigger. And it was easy. It was a blowout from the opening kickoff. Look ahead line for this game, Seattle minus 6, 44.5. My powering number, Seahawks 7.5. The market's opened 7 and 46.5 this morning, and there are even books that haven't opened yet. I am seeing 44.5 and 45.5 out there. I'm not yet sure which way this total is going to move. The Cardinals are playing on Monday Night Football tonight off their bye. Kyler Murray still not healthy. The market's likely to adjust based on his status and or how they look this evening, Jacoby Brissett and company. But as for Seattle, I mean, yards per play, Seahawks 8.7 yards per play, Washington 4.7 yards per play. There have been 4 quarterbacks since 1991 to throw 4 touchdowns before an incomplete pass. Sam Darnold was one of them yesterday, along with Lamar Jackson, Ryan Tannehill, and Tom Brady. 4 touchdowns thrown before a single incomplete. He averaged 13.8 yards per pass attempt yesterday. You know, Mike McDonald, quote, believe me when I say it, I'm not surprised. We watch Sam every day and how he operates. He's the same guy every day, which is what you love about him. We're chasing it. The guys are determined. It's fun to watch. Seattle is a team with some upside right now, although the national TV blowout last night has probably corrected their power rating number moving forward. Certainly the Seahawks, their offensive line's 1,000 times better than I thought it was going to be this year. 2,000 times better. I thought it was the same unit as last year and the year before and the year before that. That OL has been a difference maker for Darnold and this offense. And right now they are clicking on all cylinders.
All right. It looks like, according to NFL.com, Jaden Daniels dislocated his elbow. As you can tell, I was running my fingers through my hair, looking at the odds logic screen. And now I'm going to assume, Teddy, that he's not going to be a go in this game. I've never dislocated my elbow, but it is his non-throwing arm.